So what should be the first key topic? Would it be evolutions?
Well, people can type in Kha'Zix discussion what they want to talk about
Yeah,
first.
exactly. Is Kha'Zix still a viable pick against heavy, or tank heavy comps?
Yeah, of
versus
course.
armor?
You can play Kha'Zix into anything. The thing that changes is your play style. You have to play the game differently.
The reason why it's fine in that tank heavy comp is because your goal is not to kill tanks. That's not your end goal. Your goal is still to catch the ADC that stepped out of line for 1 second and then you kill them. That's still your goal.
I mean, tanks, the meta tanks CC bots as well, so like you have to, like Maokai W on a 5-second cooldown, Maokai ult, Maokai Q, all of that disrupts everything that Ka tries to do.
But that doesn't mean you have to go bruiser.
Yeah,
it just means you have to. It just means you have to track more cooldowns because
so
that's like the baseline thing of you're playing assassin. Track cooldowns. If Maokai uses his W and his Q and has his R down, well, he's down for 5 or 6 seconds. That allows you to go in. You can pop an ult charge to dodge it when it comes back up, so that he can't target you. It's that kind of thing. You just need to track his cooldowns a little better.
There's a lot of different things you can do, right? So during a team fight, if they have, let's say, a Maokai, right? So you just sit on top of your AD carry. If Maokai ever dives behind your front line to go to your AD carry, he's isolating himself. So you and your AD carry are able, you can peel your AD carry really easily, right? Because Maokai's just sitting there isolated, getting wailed on by an AD carry and a Kha'Zix while isolated. So you can play like that. You can just sit on your AD carry and wait for their tanks to isolate and then kill their tanks and then their backline. Or you can just look for picks on their backline ever if they isolate. Or you can split. Or you can split for objectives or towers, right? Like, towers are objectives, obviously. But the thing about Kha'Zix, he's good at everything. You just have to know when to utilize that, right? If you're going to lose a team fight, if they have 10 kills up and they have 3 tanks, you're not winning that team fight. There's no way you should ever try to 5v5. That's just the wrong call.
So I wouldn't say Stormraiders is underrated.
Wait, before we go to other topics, do you have anything to add to that, Tingers? At all?
I think it's not wise to ignore tanks like completely. You still need a way to deal with them. And I think that your build has a lot to do with how you deal against tanks. For example, if you go like a Duskblade, Ghostblade build, you're going to do 0 damage to tanks whatsoever. So I think flexibility with builds is extremely important if you want to succeed on Kha'Zix.
True.
I think as a whole, right now, your core is just going to be Warrior Duskblade.
Your core is definitely Duskblade.
Just those two. Yeah, but after that, if they have a tank heavy comp, you can go for the Last Whisper or the Ghostblade, whatever you need. But I think no matter what the comp is, the first 2 items are always the same, and that's really it. Those are the only items that remain the same. I can't think of anything.
So I'm writing down every topic that people are suggesting in discussion, so we can go one by one.
Okay, that's really good.
So the next one was Black Cleaver / Dominic with the LDR, or Black Cleaver Mortal Reminder.
Black Cleaver, like with those 2 Last Wisp items, which one would you go? If you
it's situational, right? Between LDR and Mortal Reminder, you have to look at their comps. So if they have Maokai, you're fucking getting Mortal Reminder. If they have Soraka, you're getting Mortal Reminder. Swain, anything that heals above like a 2, if they have a heal that heals them more than 200 HP, you're getting Mortal Reminder. Like, even, and the thing about Mortal Reminder with Kha'Zix, right, is when you get W Evolve and you're team fighting, you can apply your Mortal Reminder to their entire team. Yeah, so it's super strong with Kha'Zix. But if they don't have any champs that heal, then you're definitely getting an LDR. And if they don't have tanks or healing champs, you don't go either. Like,
I have a question on top of that. And what about okay, so let's say they don't have a lot of healing, but you want to buy Black Cleaver. What would you say? Would you still go LDR? Even if, like, obviously, like, their ADC is gonna have life steal and that kind of thing. So would you still go LDR with the Cleaver?
Do you have Duskblade? Like, you should have Duskblade and Ghostblade.
Tinges, what are you saying, Tinges?
I think it's a decent buy, even if there's no
even with LDR. I mean, even with Cleaver
healing champs, because that armor penetration is basically the reason why you buy Last Whisper.
Yeah.
And every ADC nowadays just fucking buys Ninja Tabai or Guardian Angel, so it's really useful to help shred through the armor. And everyone goes like 9 armor seals as well. So a Last Whisper item in general just adds really nice value to an assassin build.
So even with a Cleaver, you'd still be going LDR.
If you're talking about a last whisper item with Cleaver, Cleaver's a very
I'm talking about like the synergy between, or the anti-synergy between Giant Slayer.
The only time where I think you should buy both is when you desperately need to deal with tanks. Like the tanks are such a big threat that you absolutely have to shred their armor.
Like tanks, like
if they have like if they have like if they have Nasus top, Maokai jungle, fucking Braum support, and their 80 carries 1-3, like you're going Black Cleaver LDR for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Offlane Kha'Zix?
Wait, one at a time. I'll write his thing down. Don't worry.
Wait, no, you'd go LDR versus Nasus too, despite the passive?
Oh, Mortal Reminder. I mean, I would go Mortal Reminder.
I'm getting to that.
Jungle, can I invade him? Yes, you can. I find Graves is really...
Wow, one topic at a time, guys, please.
I didn't realize...
Let Light lead the discussion.
So next is Keystone. Basically, Keystone discussion. Someone said most people feel like they underestimate Stormraiders. So what is you guys' opinions on Stormraiders?
So like the thing with Stormraiders is that you have to like know how to use it with positioning, and like remember like Kha'Zix is really mobile, but if you don't know how to position correctly, then it's pretty useless.
Yeah.
I can give my opinion last because I have a very strong opinion on it, and I feel like I give my opinion a lot, so I'm gonna let other people take it.
Waffle would be perfect. He was here.
So Stormraiders' value is in its mobility, obviously. If you don't use that mobility, it's basically useless compared to Thunderlords. So the thing that separates Kha'Zix players in terms of Stormraiders is that they use the move speed properly. Like if you see like Waffle and his montages, you see he uses the move speed properly. And yeah, I don't know, when you compare it to Thunderlords is much easier because it's very reliable, but when you just want to, if you want to like practice Stormraiders, I think it's a very it's a very good evolution to run if you actually know how to use it.
I think Thunderlords is more like consistent. Like you're gonna get more consistent results more often with Thunderlords. Like Stormraiders will give you good results some of the time, but Thunderlords will give you good results pretty much all the time. That's how I feel about it, I guess. I don't know, that's my opinion on it.
Greg, is there anything you want to add to that?
So I've played a few games with Stormraiders, and I definitely see how it could be useful, and you still have bursts to get it off, like when you don't have Thunderlords, but I feel like the Thunderlords is like, to me, it's just like too important to give up that type of like, the type of damage you get from Thunderlords. Like it could definitely mean life or death in a specific situation, in my opinion.
Right.
Well, whenever you take Stormraiders on a champion, you have to start off asking yourself, why am I taking Stormraiders, right? If your champ lacks mobility, but they have burst, then you take Stormraiders because they need mobility. Kha'Zix doesn't lack mobility at all. There's no situation during a team fight that you're going in and you're like, holy shit, if I had Stormraiders, if I had more mobility here, I would live. That's just you fucking up going on a kill that you couldn't finish because you didn't know that you couldn't finish the kill. And if you take Stormraiders, then you're doing way less damage. Like early game, mid game, late game, like it's so much damage you're losing. And having Stormraiders early means you lose a lot of jungle 1v1s or 2v2s that you should be able to fight with Thunderlords. Like you're just losing so much pressure throughout the game. And what are you gaining? Like extra mobility on one of the most mobile champions in the game? I just don't think it's worth at all.
I think one other thing to mention is the movement speed soft caps that are in the game. When you pass a certain movement speed threshold, the bonus that you get from more movement speed is cut a lot.
Yeah.
So once you hit 490 move speed, you get half as much move speed from everything. And with your ult, with Ghostblade, you can hit that really easily.
Yep.
The actual benefit from Stormraiders ends up being a lot smaller than you would expect. I guess to the point that it's not even as noticeable as I would hope. I don't know.
No, I agree.
What if you're into like a heavy slow team? Would it like be viable then?
Well, it depends what slows, right? Like, I mean, even slows hitting you, Kha'Zix is a leap champ. Like, he has a dash and a leap that slows don't really affect him, right? Because you're getting on top of them no matter what. And then you're slowing them with either Duskblade or your W, or your passive. So there's no way that a slow should make Kha'Zix useless. I've never felt, in fucking every game I've ever played on Kha'Zix, I've never felt like, wow, that's slow, fuck me. Besides like Wither, that's a 99% slow, but even then, it's not really that big of a deal. If you get Withered, you're leaping away and you should be fine.
Alright.
So
Rob.
I think most people value Thunderlords over Stormraiders, at least now in the meta anyway, because it just provides so much more, and so much more reliably.
And your burst potential is higher than ever with Duskblade.
Yeah.
Is there anything, Rob, wants to add? Before we move on, you're the last one.
No, everything relevant was already said.
Okay, so the next topic would be Tiamat preference and its viability. If you guys have anything, any opinions on that?
When you think of Tiamat, you think of efficiency. It only has like what, 1 or 2 or 3 uses. The most noticeable one would be that it gives you burst in your combo, and it also speeds up how fast you clear minion waves and jungle camps. So in the end, if you can use Tiamat properly, it's kind of like it's like an efficiency item, right? If you use Tiamat properly, you can end up making up for the gold that you've spent through experience and just snowballing harder.
Yeah, so if you know when to use Tiamat every fucking time it's off cooldown, you're utilizing it, then you'll 100% go Tiamat and it's way better. But if you don't know how to utilize Tiamat and min-max it, then it's not worth it at all. If you're just using it to leap in and use it just for burst and that's it, you're not using it to wave clear, you're not using it to clear camps, you're not using it to isolate people, then you 100% do not go Tiamat because you just don't know how to use it and it's not gold efficient. If you know how to use it in every situation, then it's super gold efficient.
I actually have a question about the gold efficiency. I have a question about the gold efficiency because with Tiamat you're paying 1,200 gold for 700 gold worth of AD. So it's definitely, that active in the passive is definitely worth 500. You would consider that worth 500 gold, right? That's what I'm making sure. Like, it's definitely worth the 500 gold to you. It's 1,200, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1,200.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So for you guys, it definitely is worth the 500 because obviously the health regen really doesn't matter. So I'm not counting that. So you're getting 700 gold through AD. I just want to make sure that passive is worth, that active is worth that much to you guys.
And then
we also need to consider the fact that, considering you're going Duskblade after Warrior, Tiamat will delay that Duskblade.
Yeah, and
So it's not always the best pickup, and it's also the reason why a lot of Kha'Zix players have dropped Tiamat in this patch.
Well, delaying Duskblade isn't really that big of a deal, right? Because it scales with what level you buy it at.
that is true. That is true.
It's not really inefficient to not go Duskblade early.
Duskblade is pretty cheap now. I guess it's sort of.
Its build path is perfect. If it was the old Duskblade, right? If it was BS Sword, I would agree with you. But it has the best build path in the game, arguably, besides Thornmail. Like, those are the 2 best build paths in the game, so not going Duskblade early isn't really a problem, because you're always going to finish it at the most optimal time, just because its build path is broken.
That's true.
Yeah, I just think the main argument against that was you're delaying a very large power spike for something that's useful. Like Tiamat's so useful, but you're then delaying a very, very large power spike in Duskblade, an extra 1,200 gold. You know, you could have bought your Warhammer or your Dirk instead. And I think that just in the game that you're playing, is it better to delay that power spike 1,200 gold, or is it better to just go straight into it and then auto them for 500 damage?
Well, then you have to ask yourself how much, like, if you had Dirk at the time that you had Tiamat, which one's doing more damage? And it's Tiamat because of the act.
Crash, do you still build Tiamat at all? Or
Yeah, for some games I'm still building it, but like just like Shin just was saying, the efficiency of it, like it hasn't dropped for me. Like I can still use it well and be successful with it, but it's not as useful as it used to be, I think.
So I think what it comes down to is personal preference.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
Like it still provides a lot of benefits, but you can still just do fine without it.
But on that note, then it hasn't changed. It's still personal preference. It's always been personal preference.
It's kind of the verdict for a while now.
Yeah, like it feels better to just like get that warrior spike, so like warrior feels like it does more of that like big burst of AD you get off finishing it. Yeah.
If you're talking about rushing Tiamat before Warrior, you should never ever do that.
Yeah, never. Always
Brilliant.
put Warrior into Tiamat.
Bad. Warrior's your biggest power spike.
It truly is.
The
You
biggest
have
thing
to fucking rush it.
is that you're paying 1,600 gold for the attack damage of warrior, and you're getting 2,400 gold worth of stats. So you pay 500 gold to get 35 AD when you upgrade your Warhammer into warrior.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. You're getting 20 AD for free, so you should never delay that power spike just because of how efficient it is. And then you also have the added benefit of, hey, I can farm the jungle really fast. I can farm both jungles really fast. There's no reason to ever delay it.
So we're good on Tiamat. Does anyone have any other things they want to add?
Roxana was asking about like
Was that
the actual
before?
basics. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she said it before. She was like saying it like when we first started. She's talking about the basics, and we're going into this like assuming everybody knows the basics and stuff, but she doesn't really know like the essentials of it, like how to start out. She's just started playing it. It's just about playing it. She just says that.
Well, you can point to a lot of resources that would give you like those fundamentals to learning
We have,
Kha'Zix.
Shout out to Tinder's YouTube.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, shout me out.
Check
Yeah.
out Tendus's YouTube.
Check out everything by
not
Tinges and Kha'Zix discussion pins, and there's I wouldn't go
Yeah.
look at too many guides that are
No,
like
he-
public on Mobifier or Soulmate.
Yeah.
Just
Ten-
Excuse me,
around
Mobify.
Guide is here, Nutty's guide is
unless
here.
it's Tinges' guide.
Nutty has a pretty good paragraph wrote here when he was talking about like 5v5s and how you what you should do to end games and stuff. The mayor's guide is up here. All of
Mhm.
Dennis's
Every other
team
guide
fighting
is
guide, all
still
of that
Every
stuff.
really expansive guide is in the pins for
In the
Kha'Zix
pins,
discussions.
so yeah. So
Yep.
just check some pins, Roxana.
Yeah.
Is she in the? Yeah, okay, she is.
hmm So, next topic would be top
The
lane
Graves.
Kha'Zix.
For top lane, what would you guys say for like our evolve, the viability of it?
Well, we should just
Uh,
cover if it's viable. If it's viable at all, as a champion in the role.
I think it's viable, but I think you'd have to like in a lot of matchups, like for the example, like the Renekton into Kha'Zix matchup. As Kha'Zix, you're not going to be winning that lane. Like you're not going to be able to ever 1v1 that champion. Like I'd say just to go for roams on like mid lane and just kind of like go try to invade the jungler and maybe cheese him, like something like that. You know, like I wouldn't say ever to be able to. You're not going to be able to solo kill a Renekton ever.
A good
Like-
Renekton.
Pretty much just my opinion.
Like Lane Ka, it's viable, but it's not like that great because you're gonna lose a lot of matchups if the enemy team
Yeah.
knows how to play it. But if they don't, then they're gonna run away from their minion wave and just isolate themselves because they're dumb,
Mhm.
and then you win.
Yep.
That's
So-
happened to me. Like
Same concept for
a lot
mid
of
as well.
times.
Mid lane.
I think
I-
Kha'Zix mid is a lot better.
Yeah,
But I
Much better than top lane because
I agree.
top lane
Better
top lane
targets.
champions are very straightforward and they're mostly melee, so it's very hard to play around them. Whilst with
Yeah.
mid lane, you're
Yes.
usually versing mages, so mages
Squishy.
usually they're squishy, and mages usually have a very noticeable window of when you can actually go in. Say like
Yeah,
they burn
bet.
a skill shot or something,
Yeah.
and you can just instantly go in on them.
Yeah, a lot of mages have like 8-10+ second cooldowns, but a lot of top laners like that.
They
window
just
is a
rely
lot
on their
shorter.
autos, and they just
There's
outdrain
more-
you.
I feel there's more chances to do more damage on top because there's more bushes you can reset. If you build Duskblade, you could reset Duskblade that way. You even if you evolve, or I guess if you're being chased, if you're getting ganked, you could sort of outplay that with the invisibility and then also reset your passive as well.
Yeah, but the thing is like in the meta right now, I don't see Kha'Zix winning lane against any of the meta top laners right
Yeah,
now,
that's-
especially in
that's
high
right.
elo. If they know how to play the matchup, even if they isolate, like they're still gonna win because you're just down. You're even in gold with a top laner, and you're straight up 1v1ing them unisoed. Like you're gonna lose that 9 times out of 10.
So, Rob, would you like to add anything or Crash? To top
Alright, so
Kha'Zix?
I played top Kha'Zix a bit, like I used to a lot, but now I've just seen that if you know what you're doing in the jungle, like it's so much more useful just to be the Kha'Zix player in the jungle, getting objectives for your team than just sitting top lane and waiting for a pick.
So on the top lane Kha'Zix discussion, this is going to apply a lot to what Dog was asking about because he mentioned the Renekton matchup. I actually played the Renekton matchup with my friend. It wasn't really a 1v1, it was an in-house, so there were junglers and stuff. And I played it out. I didn't really get ganked. I evolved W first, which sounds stupid at first, but a lot of the time, a lot of the time I would wave clear with the extra W spikes, and then he would try to E to me, and then he would use his W beforehand, and then I'd wait for his W to wear off, and then I would all in him and just win. I beat him 6-0, and that's an example of him just being a bad Renekton, I'm pretty sure, but that's just what I did in that example.
And you guys think the items are pretty much the same? Like the top Kha'Zix, just lethality?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next topic if you guys don't have any more.
Yeah, let's go next.
So
GG, let's go next.
Next is it better to finish Duskblade before the basic jungle item?
No,
absolutely not.
Definitely not.
Absolutely. Warrior is the most efficient item in the game.
Once you get warrior, you basically just flex on everyone. Like you type in all chat and you know that you're banging their girlfriend and you just walk in their jungle and you take everything. Like that. As soon as you get warrior and you're level 6, like you take everything possible. You take dragon. You kill laners. You kill the enemy jungle. Like that's your biggest power spike. Period. There's nothing they can do once you hit warrior. Like. Even if it was better to go Duskblade first, even if it was theoretically, it just got nerfed early. It just got super nerfed early, so it's not even that strong like first item. I mean, it's still obviously strong, but like it's not as strong. Anyway.
Next topic is pretty interesting. It's the masteries. It's I'll write it in Kha'Zix discussion, but it's the preferences for these: Fury, Sorcery, Runic Affinity, Assassin, Green Father's Dangerous. Game.
Oh, we had a discussion on Green Fathers and Dangerous Game.
I'll unmute Histy so you can.
Yeah. Fury and Sorcery should be pretty easy for Sorcery, I think. Just 2% ability damage in general is going to be better than 4% attack speed.
See, what Jakku does is he takes Fury, the attack speed mastery.
He does that for
I've also been running that as well, actually.
Don't you take like 1 point in Fury, Mark?
That's for a different reason, though.
Okay.
So it doesn't apply to Kha'Zix.
What were you gonna say first, Tingus? Would you like to go first?
I've been running Fury as well, actually. And I've also been running Lethality Runes. I know it's... I don't know, this is just a preference. I haven't actually tested it much at all, so I don't have much to say on it. But it's been working nicely recently.
Yeah, I think attack speed can be pretty useful.
Yeah, I think it's just personal preference between Fury and Sorcery.
It's not really going to make too much of a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you are running Lethality Runes, the 4% attack speed will help you farm a little bit.
Let's not go too deep into runes discussion yet.
Yeah.
So, anything you guys want to add to Fury or Sorcery for that preference?
Not really.
I think most people
take
Sorcery.
I think it's personal preference. Yeah.
So,
what about Green Father and Dangerous Game?
Well, yeah, we're going to it. We're
going down the list. We gotta go Runic Affinity and Assassin. I personally take a Runic Affinity.
Yeah, Runic Affinity.
Yeah.
I take Assassin.
If you don't...
The thing about Assassin is, okay, so say you're playing Caitlyn. The range on her level 1 ultimate is the range that you need to be in order to have Assassin proc. There can be no ally in that level 1 Caitlyn ult range. That is a fucking huge range.
Yeah, but as a jungler.
As a jungler, yeah, but I mean, like, you know, if you look at, like, LCS have, like, the jungle proximity stats, a lot of these junglers are, like, 50-60% of the time that they're in that range where they wouldn't have Assassin proc. That's a lot of time, and granted, that's pro play.
Yeah, it's like you're not having a mastery a majority of the jungle.
Yeah, so you're saying for 30, 40, 50% of the game, you just don't have that mastery working because you happen to be too close to your top laner, or, you know, you were clearing Raptors, and you fought Lee Sin, and hey, it's not working anymore. So it's just the 15% on buffs just helps a lot, especially with solo queue where you're taking.
It's 7 seconds.
It's not just buffs though. It's also Elder Dragon and Baron too. You know, increasing your Baron by 30 seconds can mean the difference.
That's a whole other wave that you see.
Yeah, that's another wave.
Yeah, but people on your team are already taking the mastery, so you can utilize it there. You know
what? What do you mean people? No one else in the game takes Runic Affinity. No other.
Wait, it is the only.
There's a lot of mid laners in high elo take it because you're giving them blue buff, so they're using it for blue buff and Baron buff and stuff like that.
I rarely.
Here, I can pull up a few. If you want me to.
Imperial, what were you saying?
Mid lane's the only other option for Runic Affinity other than jungle, and you only really do it if you're confident you're better than your laner, because otherwise the other masters are better.
Okay.
Porter's just spamming in chat.
So you guys are good on Runic Affinity and Assassin?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like personal preference. It's picking between shit and garbage, right? Like, they're both really bad. Assassin's only giving you like 24 extra damage in your rotation, and Runic Affinity is giving you 7 seconds of a buff. So in like 13 seconds a Baron buff. At the end of the day, it's like whatever. Next one.
Would be
Dangerous game.
Greenfathers and Dangerous Game. Who wants to start
Evil,
that off?
dangerous game. Ooh.
Anyone want to start that off or have an opinion?
We did talk about this. If I remember, it was about like, especially for the people that you go full damage, you evolve E. Dangerous game could literally mean life or death. It can save your life. It's everybody can. I think everybody in this Discord can say that if they take Dangerous game, it's definitely like help them.
I'll talk about both sides.
It never happens though. Like,
and I feel like Greenfathers, like the damage that you get from Greenfathers is like almost non-existent. I don't.
Great. Stop it.
Okay,
what were you saying? History's the one who asked, so he can elaborate.
yeah. So like, about Dangerous game, like I never felt like I ever used it. Like, just for the reset, like I never found myself like this season, for example. Like I never found myself in that position to actually use the mastery.
Honestly, if you aren't ever noticing yourself where Dangerous Game saves your life by giving you mana for reset, I think you're not paying enough attention. Because I mean, whenever I play Kha'Zix, it's like once a game probably that I get saved by Dangerous Game. It's like
I think there's more situations where I'll be like, Dangerous Game helped me there, as opposed to like, oh, I gotta run in the bush to get Greenfathers.
Yeah, I agree with that as
The
well.
biggest thing for Greenfathers is the clear potential with it. You're not taking it for, the extra 20 damage on a champion that's at half HP, you know what I mean? You're not taking it for that. You're taking it for, hey, I got 80 damage on blue buff on my first clear, so it spend my clear by, 4 or 5 seconds.
I feel like for me, I'm just way too personally reliant on it. I've used it for so many seasons where not having it,
game, but
I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I also like Dangerous Game way better just because I notice it saving me all the time whenever I play Kha'Zix. It's like every game.
well, yeah, like I always go Dangerous game, but I don't know.
So,
Next thing.
well, Tingis or Crash, you guys want to add into that?
I just take Dangerous Game.
Okay.
In the cases where you play at a very aggressive playstyle and you need to clutch a few things out, I think Dangerous Game is pretty useful. Even if you may not notice it, sometimes the extra mana you get after a kill will save your life. So, yeah.
And I mean, the health is also a part of it too. That's also really big. You are in a team fight where 3-4 kills happen, that's 20% of your missing health.
You got anything, Crash? Did you take Dangerous?
Yeah, I do take it. I don't find it like, I don't know my opinion on it exactly, but it's just useful in some situations.
Okay, next topic then, which would be Evelynn Matchup. Histy asked.
Kha'Zix shits on Evelynn.
Yeah, I think Kha'Zix dumpsters early game.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I believe
all points of the game.
Yeah, that too.
it has a lot to do with your early pathing. Just be smarter than her, and you're just always
early
going to win.
pathing is extremely important versus Evelynn, because that's when she's going to be ganking the most.
I pretty much I can't tell where she starts. Like, I played like 3 games against Evelynn this week, and like 2 times, they just came at my buff and smited it.
I think the most important thing for Evelynn is don't do greedy clears, because you will get punished for it by a good Evelynn. So do 3 camp clears and be there for the counter gank, because you know she wants the gank or invade at level 3. You know that's what she wants to do. So if you're ever against an Evelynn, I think the most important thing is not doing greedy clears. Just do a 3 camp clear, kick the scuttle, be ready to counter gank, be ready to defend your jungle. Just because if you go for that 4 camp clear, that 5 camp clear, she's gonna show up and kill you. And then suddenly you give her first blood and you're fucked.
And anyone else want to add to the Evelynn thing?
Teamfighting.
Nope.
Okay, next is Olaf. Histy asked this one as well. The Olaf matchup for jungle.
I don't see Olaf's.
I wouldn't be able to
You
say.
win unless you face check Olaf, then he kills you. But if you
I mean, even then you can outrun him. Like you can escape
you
no
can
matter
run
what.
away, but like that's the only way you wouldn't be able to kill him 1v1. Except at like level 3, I guess he can win.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
imagine
and
Olaf's
in
too bad.
late game if you don't have LDR or like a tank killing item, and he has Thornmail, Deadman, Cinderhulk, like that's like the only time you'd lose, really.
Yeah, Olaf should never really be able to kill you with a leap and a flash because he doesn't have flash. He should never really be able to kill you.
Yeah, you should just be able to run away. Like
And
even if you don't win
away. Straight lines. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Flash
Or
at angles.
also don't flash when you're slowed by his Q, because then after you flash, you're still slowed, and you're just like, fuck my life. Die.
Yeah.
So basically, if you ever see yourself starting to lose to him, you get the fuck out. Like, you never engage. Another thing is, I think the problem is maybe you're not saving your leap, right? You're probably leaping into an Olaf expecting to win when he has like Thornmail or something.
That you lose.
I usually just run away from Olaf.
Yeah. So like, so for anyone here that's a beginner or anything like that, Kha'Zix, the most important thing playstyle-wise is hold your leap. You always want to hold your leap. That's why you go blue smite, is so you can walk up to people, because you always want to save your leap. If they flash, use a dash, you can follow that up, or if you start losing the fight, you can dash out. So it's super important to save your leap. That's like the most important thing about Kha'Zix. If you use your leap and you start losing, you're fucked. You either have to blow flash or ult instead of blowing a 20-second cooldown. And I run like CDR and everything, so it's like a 10-second cooldown. Anyways, next thing.
You guys good on the Olaf matchup? Next topic would be the Lethality Runes. You guys' opinions on Lethality Runes? Tingus, you could lead that if you've been using them recently.
So everyone knows it hurts your clear early game, hurts your damage early game, but once you get that warrior power spike, your jungle clear is actually really insane. Especially if you have evolved Q, you just kill like buffs in like 2 Qs, and enemy champs in 2 Qs as well. It's just ridiculous. So I think the snowball potential on lethality right now is really nice.
How much lethality?
You could argue full lethality, but I don't think that's a good idea.
What do you do, Tingus?
I run 9 lethality marks.
Do you do one lethality quint as well? Because I see Jakku does that.
Instead of the 1 quint, I actually run an attack speed rune.
Ooh.
But that's just me. That's my preference.
Yeah.
So what, 9 marks gives you like 14 lethality?
15. Yeah.
Yeah, about 14.
I'm using 14.
Yeah, 14.
Does it like actually impact damage? Like how is it numbers wise?
Oh, I don't. It just feels much better. I'm really shit with math.
Well, yeah. So it's more like preference, like. Because I personally haven't tried it.
I guess you could say it's preference at this point.
Could go into custom and do a couple clears.
It's all about what you want, really. If you want maximum early game potential, then I think the 80 page is a lot safer.
Yeah, I think it comes down to whether you want.
If you want to take that risk and snowball, I think the lethality page can work out really nicely.
I think it just comes down to whether you want to focus on 5 to 20 minutes or like 10 to 25 minutes. You know what I mean? There's like a 5-minute difference between when your bigger spikes are. Because if you take the AD, you can be more useful at 5 minutes, but then you'll fall off a little earlier. And your window of opportunity to close the game out was a little bit earlier. So I think that's the biggest difference.
If you're new to Kha'Zix, I recommend not running any lethality in your runes. You should go AD for your early clear, because you're most likely going to be really bad at clearing. You need to get used to clearing as him if you're going to run any lethality in your runes, because it does hurt your early clear a lot, and your early clear matters a lot as Kha'Zix, because with the time you're wasting with your armor pen in your runes instead of flat AD, you could have easily gotten a kill and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's a lot of things that beginners don't understand, right? Like, people try to copy my clear, and they're like, dude, I just don't understand, because I do a full clear, and it's just like, you don't know how to kite camps correctly, you don't know what runes to run, like, you just shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing easier clears, you should be running easier shit in your runes and masteries, right? Like, but that's where the biggest problem they fuck up on is, like, they try to copy shit, and they don't realize how to do it, or, like, how to execute it, and then they die or something, like.
Yeah.
Anyways. Next question.
So, wait, Crash or Greg, do you guys take lethality or tested lethality at all? Runes?
I've never done it. I don't think it's like that great because of the early clear. I tried to get the most out of my early game. Sorry.
Crash?
Yeah, Crash.
Josh?
Yeah, I take Lethality Runes sometimes. It just depends on the matchup. Like, if I'm going to snowball, then I'll take Lethality for sure. If it's like an early game matchup where I can invade the enemy jungle, then it's just a lot easier that way to snowball.
Mm-hmm. Next topic, I guess, would be for Guardian Angel as a third or fourth item when you're ahead, specifically. And Histy has that one.
Third, no. Fourth, you can make an argument for it to protect your lead, but third.
Are you saying third includes Warrior?
I figured
like Warrior Duskblade GA?
Yeah.
If so, I don't.
You're unmuted. You can still talk, Histy.
Histy, yeah.
Warrior Duskblade GA.
Yeah.
I would say Ghostblade is still gonna be much better if you're ahead. Just you're gonna snowball way harder than hey, I can maybe die a little.
At that point in the game when your GA procs, like if you're fucking 20 minutes into the game and you lose your GA, like you don't really gain anything out of it, right? I don't know. I don't think it's really that big of an impact.
Especially because your death timer is only, it's still less than 30 seconds. It's not like a minute,
exactly.
Where they can get Baron and 4 turrets off of it.
Yeah, you're losing a lot of damage. You're losing Ghostblade active. You're losing. You can't kill tanks because you won't go LDR or Mortal Reminder. Like you're just losing too much. Like don't get me wrong, GA the strongest champ in the game with GA is Kha'Zix. Like Kha'Zix benefits the most from GA in my opinion, but I don't think going it early really benefits him.
Okay. Anyone
Next
thing. Add on to that?
I would say pretty much always get it 5th or 6th item. I don't see a benefit from getting it any earlier than that, including Warrior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh god. Pora, please stop. We ready to move on to the next? Okay. Next is asked by, I can't pronounce his name, El Hanze. I'll unmute him if he wants to add on to that, but he asked how to fight a team with Cho, Mao, Kai, and Braum.
You don't.
You don't.
Just get the fuck out.
Just AFK. Honestly, just fucking ult up.
Cho'Gath is ridiculous. Like, you watched 2 tanks. It's very hard to team fight against 2 tanks as Kha'Zix. Very hard.
Yep.
So,
3 things though. Like this is the meta now.
So you guys want
3 things?
Yeah, this is the meta.
Anyways. So in situations like that, when the enemy team comp has that, you gotta go through your checklist, right? So first check is how ahead are you? You gotta make sure if you're going to team fight, you have to be ahead, and you have to look at your team comp. If your team comp isn't good at team fighting, say you have like Jax top, bad fighting mid lane, like Zed mid. If you don't have a good team fighting comp, you just don't fight. You just try to split pressure. So you tell your Jax to go opposite lane. So if Baron is up, then tell him to go split bot lane, and then you sit top lane and you split top lane, and then you do a 1-3-1, send the rest of your team mid lane, and you just try to split pressure. Or you look for picks. So while you're splitting, or if you just don't win 1v1 against the enemy laner that you're splitting against, then you just look for picks. You hide in the enemy jungle and you just try to kill any squishy that is out of position. Those are like the only things you can do when you lose team fights.
Yeah, it's really important because it's solo queue, so people are gonna make these mistakes and they're just gonna walk out of position. They're gonna screw up, and you don't have to team. You're going to lose the team, but you don't have to give them their team comp advantage. So never take a team fight. If the red buff's coming up and you're ahead, you can sweep out the red jungle and maybe catch their ADC when they're trying to take it. It's just making those checks rather than trying to team fight is the only thing you should ever be doing. Get the 3 takes.
Yeah.
You should
also,
never team fight. You're gonna lose.
Also, lastly, if all of those don't work, so if you lose team fights, if you lose splitting, if you can't find any picks, then you have to let the enemy team force stuff, because they can't just walk into your fountain and kill you, right? You have to play passively, and you have to wait for them to fuck up. You have to wait for them to force Baron, and as soon as they start Baron, you don't go in. So that's another thing I see people fuck up on is when the enemy team starts Baron, you just instantly go in. That's not the right play at all, because the debuff hasn't stacked. They're not low HP. The Baron's not even close to dead, so there's zero risk for them fighting you. You have to wait until the Baron's lower or until their team's lower to engage it, and you either ace their team or you steal Baron, etc., etc. Like, you have to wait for the enemy team to force shit, and you can punish that. So if you can't win anything else, you just wait for them to either dive you or force the Baron, because they have to at one point. They have to eventually to win the game, right? You have to let them force.
Stealing Baron in general is actually really, really effective because outside of like Cho'Gath or Nuno, Kha'Zix has among
he's one of the best fights.
steals in the game.
Yep.
Because his Q plus Smite at level 18 is going to do around, 1,800, 2,000
Plus,
damage.
you can technically stealth into the Baron Pit while you're not camouflaged, you're full invis, so you can ult in Baron Pit and take it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different reasons why Kha'Zix is really good at stealing. So the thing is, you can just sit over the wall, and 90% of your damage they can't block. So if you W, so what you want to do when you're looking to steal Baron is you wait for it's like 3k, 2k, and it depends at what point in the game it is, obviously. Then you W, and then the AoE from your W is gonna guarantee hit it. Then you Tiamat Q Smite, and you're like 90% of the time you're gonna steal it with all that burst damage. There's nothing they can really do. And then if you still don't steal it after that, you just sit there invis for fucking 3 seconds because you have double invis and you just wait for them.
Yeah,
you either get kills or you steal Baron. So like 90% of the time, if they force a Baron, you should come out ahead because how Kha'Zix strong in that situation.
Anything Crash or Tinges? I forgot if you responded to that.
Oh, wait, can I add something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
By the way, monsters are always isolated. Champions don't unisolate monsters, so Baron is going to be isolated. So it counts as your isolated Q. So your isolated Q hits like a truck.
I actually didn't know that.
Only monsters unisolate other monsters. So you can counterplay to that. You can fucking throw Scuttle at Baron and it unisolates Baron. By the way.
I'm gonna be Cinder and throw red buff at Baron.
Yeah, or you can like Scion, throw it, shoot it. Anyways.
So Crash or Tinges, you guys want to add to Teamfighting versus Tanky?
Teamfighting. Okay.
Versus those Tanky, Maokai, Cho'Gath, and Braum comps.
Best thing to do is just peel back until you have an opportunity. That is the most. I think that's the best thing you can do, really. Most of the time, the tanks will go onto your team. So, if they're distracted with your team, you can always deal damage to them, or you can sneak past them with your Void Assault, or jump over them and deal with the backline or something. I don't know, it's really difficult to teamfight against tanks, especially if you're like a Maokai. Against a Maokai, all you have to do is W you, and then you pretty much die. So like CC is your biggest issue when dealing with tanks.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really touch on that. If you are in the position where you have a team fighting comp or you're ahead and you can actually win team fights, how you play it is different, right? You just sit in the back and you peel for your backline if a tank engages on them, or you wait until you can 100% get a kill. You should never go in a team fight if you cannot guarantee yourself a kill. Like, you have to know for sure that you're killing someone and you have a reset available.
Yeah.
So you just sit, like, say you have a Caitlyn, you legit just sit on top of Caitlyn, and if Maokai tries to go onto her, then you kill the Maokai. Like, you just peel for your backline. Against tanks. If they don't have tanks, then you obviously play team fights differently. But anyways.
Yeah. Crash, you got any opinion on versus Tanky comps?
Yeah, so this last game I was versus Shyvana and Nasus, and like team fighting is really horrible with Kha'Zix when you're out of position. And so what my biggest mistake that I made is that I'm running it down, and like in the team fight, I'm saving my leap for the exact moment so I can get a double jump. But then with the Nasus Wither and like the Shyvana's CC from her ult, like I can't just jump out whenever I want when I'm fighting them. So either positioning like around them and not being in that like spot where it's like really awkward to get that jump up reset. It's really useful.
Okay. Solid.
Yeah.
Oh, a good thing is to use your team as bait.
Yeah.
Like fuck your team.
That too.
Yes, exactly. Let them do all the work. Let them absorb everything. Let them absorb everything. Do all the work.
Yeah, that's how you just sit in the back and you wait. Like that's Kha'Zix's playstyle. You just wait until the opportunity arises. Because 90% of the time, when you sit in the back and you wait, the enemy team forgets about you 100%. I see this all the time, even in Challenger. If you're just sitting back throwing W's, they're like, "Oh, he's fucking useless," and then like 3 people on their team end up dying to the team fight, and then you have every cooldown available. You finish the fight. Kha'Zix is kind of a win more champion, right? If your team wins a team fight, you 100% guarantee that all of them die. So say without Kha'Zix, that same team comp would have killed 3 people in a team fight. With Kha'Zix, you kill all 5 guaranteed. He's like a win more champion. You get more out of a team fight if you're able to win it.
Being patient and doing nothing is doing something because it's expending their resources while you're just waiting. So patience is really key.
Yeah, you apply a lot of pressure. If they waste ultimates on someone else, then you guarantee like almost kill all of them. If they waste ultimates on you, your team can use a lot. But as long as you're not like, as long as they're not using their ults freely, right? If you dive in and they just one-shot you, then that's not like making them sacrifice resources. That's just you being a fucking idiot. Anyways.
Yeah, I love whenever I see someone in team chat. Oh, they use 4 ults on me after they die. It's like, well, yeah, you're still a fucking retard for dying.
Yeah, you just dove in like if they're going out of their way, like say you're sitting in the back of your team and they fucking 4 flash ult you, like you get 4 flashes, 4 ultimates, like that's really good. But if you're leaping in and they use 1 ultimate and like 1 flash, then it's not worth it. You're just insta dying.
Yeah. I jumped on the back line and Mouse ulted me. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Team?
It's a huge difference that people don't realize. Is like getting them to sacrifice resources and like them just killing you outright.
I think that's more along the lines of, but with patience, you have to be good at checking cooldowns too. So
yeah,
if you're just being patient and there's a fight going on, but you're not tracking anything, how do you know that Janna hasn't burned exhaust, or her ult's still up, and as soon as you jump in, you get Janna ulted away, and then she exhausts you when you try and come back in. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
tracking what cooldowns have and haven't been used, and a large part of that comes from like knowing what cooldowns are. Just like game knowledge of knowing what cooldowns are is also really important. Like say you're going against the Kassadin. His ult has a 6/4 2-second cooldown at level 1, 2, 3. So knowing that lets you know how much time you have. That's just like a general thing. Whatever champion, knowing when you can go in and when you can't go in. Because if you go in and they have some major cooldown that has been burnt, or that major cooldown is coming back up, then you're screwed.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, like we can discuss every team fighting situation and shit like that, but I don't think new players will pick it up because everything is 100% situational as Kha'Zix. Like Kha'Zix is one of the highest ceilings in the game, in my opinion, just because of how many different situations there are and how differently you play them, right? So, like, every champion changes the game. If they have an Orianna, you play 100% different. If they have a Syndra, you play different. Like, every champion, every situation, you play differently as Kha'Zix, and that just comes with time. Like, you have to put in enough games to know every single situation. You don't just, like, sit there and study it. You have to play it, and you have to realize what you do against every situation.
I think that's like assassins in general, not just Kha'Zix as well. Like
don't go too off topic, though.
Yeah,
I'm talking about when you're talking about that skill gap, I think it's like assassins in general are really good.
Yeah, I agree. Rengar's kind of hard.
Yeah, because if you are good at like that patience, that factor of being able to do all that kind of stuff, you can be. That's just like really good with that in general.
Yeah.
You want to wrap this up, Rob, or you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Next topic would be, how do you prioritize targets as Kha'Zix? And that was asked by Sodi.
So that's like the same thing, right? Is that you just have to have experience. You have to you have to know what champs you win against. So you have to know what champs you can snowball on. Like I don't know. It's really situational. You just have to know all the matchups, stuff like that.
When you say prioritize targets, are you saying in team fights or like early game when you're trying to decide who to gank and who to kill? Or do you mean like target priorities in team fights? Okay, in team fights.
Team fights.
That's a different monster altogether.
Yeah. You have to check items. You have to check team comps. So if there's two, okay, so say they have an Orianna and a Caitlyn, right? And you don't know which one to pick. You hold tab. Does Orianna have a Zonias? If she does, you go on Caitlyn. If she doesn't, then you go on Orianna. But also, you can't just dive in Orianna when she has ult, because she's gonna ult you and you die. So
and the opposite is true for GA for Caitlyn. Like if GA if Orianna doesn't have a Zonias, but Caitlyn has a GA, then you want to focus the Orianna. It's the same thing.
If they have both, you do what we talked about earlier and just sit back until they blow a cooldown. Orianna's gonna eventually have to use Zonias if your team's actually being useful, or she's gonna have to blow her ult. She can't. Like, it's really bad for an Orianna to solo ult. This is the kind of concept of, like, making them blow their resources. If Orianna solo ults you and you live, they 100% lose the team fight. Like, it's such a huge tool that they need. And if she solo ults you while you have GA, it's really strong, and you just win the team fight. So, yeah, there's a lot of different situations. You just gotta, it comes with time. That's it. End of the day, play more. You'll learn all the situations.
You guys have anything to add to that discussion? Add to that topic?
Man.
Nope. No.
Tinges, you got anything? Crash as well?
Don't really have much other than just try and prioritize the threats to you. like, obviously damage dealers are going to be your main priority, but if, say like a bruiser is doing most of the work in the team fight, you typically want to focus them down with your team. I don't know, it's all about like, kills are kills. You just kill whoever's low. That's what Kha'Zix does. Kill whoever you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Next would be, if we're good on that, on that topic, it would be, how do you adjust when you're behind but your team is carrying you? Should you go bruiser? And what to evolve in those situations? And it was asked by Sod.
Usually when I'm behind, I do build bruiser because I just try to peel for whoever's carrying me and make sure they get most of their damage up in team fights. Try to protect them as much as possible.
Nutty, you got anything?
Build wise, if
Yeah.
you're behind, your build does change. So I go pen every game, but if I'm ever behind and my team's ahead, then I want to go whatever situational items either keeps me alive or helps. So LDR and Mortal Reminder are the first things that come to mind, and those are like the strongest tools to help your team. Because like I said earlier, Evolve W with Mortal Reminder is super strong during team fights, and it kind of carries your team. Like if you're playing Mortal Reminder or Grievous Wounds to their entire team, then your team fight, like your team can carry you during a team fight. Other than that, evolutions stay the same. I think they're just flat out better. QEW is the best, I think, flat out. Like, we can discuss that later if you guys want, but...
Yeah.
Or do you guys want to discuss evolutions right now?
We should save that. But just stay on each individual topic. Tinders, you got anything? Also, Mark?
Not really.
Nutty covered it pretty well.
You just pretty much build the same thing when you're behind or ahead, Tinges?
I would say so, sort of. I mean, if anything, your playstyle kind of changes. Like, you stop thinking you're, like, also important, and you rely on your team more.
Yeah.
So it's okay to, I mean, like, in this case, say GA, for example. GA is a good pick when you're behind, because you can obviously go a bit more ham, and since you're not really worth as much, it's okay if you die for a good reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like you said, it's not your items that should be changing. It should be your play style. You play around your team instead of saying.
Well, I mean, a few items change, right? Like, I think you should I think you should include Maw, LDR, Mortal Reminder in situations where, like, you would go Duskblade, Ghostblade, full pen.
So you go more, situational items instead of flat out damage.
Yeah, when you're ahead, you go flat out damage like 90% of the time because no matter what, you're gonna assassinate someone because you're just so ahead, and that's how strong. That's how you abuse your spikes with Kha'Zix, but your power spikes, not your W. But yeah. What else? Are we missing anything else on that?
Well, I guess we're good if you guys don't have anything to add to that. Next would be Edge of Night as an item. I think Rob brought that up.
Yep.
Actually.
What do
I
you guys
think
about the
Maw. I think
viability?
Maw is just better Edge of Night. If you're ever in a situation where you want to go Edge of Night, you just go Maw. Because
Doesn't
I
that
never said
discount
Edge
the
of Night.
lethality, or?
I usually build it when I'm just stacking lethality. I only get it for the lethality. I don't really get it as to like defensive stats, really.
yeah. So the thing is like. If you want to go Edge of Night, right? If you're going it for the lethality, you just get a better lethality item.
Like,
You go
it gives HP.
Duskblade or Ghostblade. If
No,
you
I
want,
meant stacking as in third.
as in
that'd be
third,
last.
but
Yeah.
the thing is like GA is core, in my opinion. Maybe that's because I know how to abuse it more on Kha'Zix, but like GA, Duskblade, your Ghostblade is like the only interchangeable item in the build, in my opinion. But GA is just better than Edge of Night in every way because late game Kha'Zix, it's so abusable because what ends up happening is you can force a team fight no matter what as long as you have GA and Kha'Zix, because if they blow everything on you, then your team wins the team fight. So you can just leap in, either assassinate someone and they blow everything on you and your team wins the team fight, or they blow everything on your team and you just get to pop off because you have GA. Like, you get to play super aggressive with GA because of the fast.
When you're talking about GA being core, is that including when they have like a Caitlyn or something that can just completely fuck your GA over?
Caitlyn's kind of different, right? I feel like she should be banned 100%, but I don't ban her because obviously I had to ban Maokai.
I just banned Fizz.
Fizz. Yeah, all that.
Like, Caitlyn's a different story, right? Like, I just think that's bad game design at the end of the day. Caitlyn counters Zhonya's and GA as a whole. I just... It's hard to discuss, right? Because I think it's gonna eventually end up getting nerfed because that's just unhealthy for the game. But I don't know. I would still build it because it's super strong on Kha'Zix. Even if they have a Caitlyn, I would still build it because in those situations where she can't trap your GA, you just win the game. You know what I'm saying? Like if she's ever pushed so far back that she can't walk up to trap your GA, you just win the game. So. Because at that point in time when you're buying GA last item on Kha'Zix, it's also at that point where if you win the next team fight, you just end the game. Or you get Baron and then you end the game later. So that's why GA is super strong on Kha'Zix. Yeah. Because you force a team fight, 90% of the time you're winning that team fight because GA is super strong on Kha'Zix because of his playstyle. And then,
Let's wrap it up with Edge of Night. Crash or Tingis, do you guys build Edge of Night or have any closing
I just
thoughts?
never take Edge of Night. If I'm gonna build like against AP, I just get them all.
Remember, Edge of Night doesn't give
MR anymore.
It gives health.
So,
But I think...
Well, yeah, but going for the, like, shield, you'd go the shield for, like, AP champs, and you'd go Maw instead of the shield. That's what Tim just meant.
I feel like the shield is like super situational because it's not like old Edge of Night. Old Edge of Night you could just pop and like randomly at any situation and it would be useful. But with this one you like need to know when to pop it, and I feel like Mo is just more reliable.
Even if you're utilizing Edge of Night to its fullest in high elo, no one's gonna let you do that. Like you're gonna get hit by a fucking Ezreal Q and your Edge of Night's gone. Either that or it's gonna run out because the item's like really bad. Basically,
it's short.
There's just better items, right? Like in every way. If you want to go more lethality, you build Duskblade, Ghostblade. If you want more defensive, you build Maw GA. Like it's just.
So you never see a situation in which you'd build all three lethality items. Like there's just no reason to.
No, there's just no reason.
You do enough damage without.
Yeah, I don't think there's a reason.
Okay.
Okay. So Crash, do you have closing thoughts on that?
I just never built Edge of Night either. I just don't think it's very useful at the moment.
Okay. I gotcha.
For Edge of Night to be good, they would have to buff the health, I think. 250 health isn't that great. Like, if it was 400 health, 450 health, that item would be pretty strong. Because health items are super valuable on almost every champ. But even then, like, I still wouldn't consider building it just because all your items are already core already. Like, GA is just too strong, Duskblade's too strong. Ghostblade, you might be able to replace Ghostblade. If Edge of Night got buffed to like 450 health, I'd probably replace Ghostblade with Edge of Night. But that's about it.
Alright, let's move on to the next topic, which is for mid lane Kha'Zix. Zac asked this one, I'll unmute him. And if there's any experienced mid laner Kha'Zix players, what are your preferred summoner spells and potential all-in levels?
Should you ever take any summoner besides Ignite?
I mean,
yes, you could take exhaust. You could argue exhaust against
This is like versus like poke matchups like Orianna and Kassadin, or what I like can think of right now. Because I usually destroy like Zeds or Luxes or Syndras or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's mostly like the very focused poke that you can't really dodge. And I'll usually get shit out of lane by like level 3.
I mean, that's just kind of what Lane KhaZix is, right? Like, he's going to have bad matchups, and you just can't really do much about it. I guess you, like, take extra MR in your runes. I don't know. I don't really see ways around it. But then again, I'm not, like, a laner, right? Like, I've played jungle almost every fucking game that I've ever played. So, you'd have to... I would bet money you would probably get a better answer for mid lane KhaZix from, like, a challenger mid lane main KhaZix main.
The way to play Kha'Zix in mid is to abuse the very short windows of when the enemy's cooldowns are.
Hey, Demir's
Yeah,
here.
the enemy on. Holy shit! I'm not wording this properly. When the enemy's abilities are on cooldown, that's the time where you need to jump in. Like you can't. Kha'Zix is actually really good with trading because he has such ridiculous burst, especially if you take Thunderlords, and it's not like you always have to all in when you jump. There's always a chance that you can back off. Because a lot of the times, especially in the early game, the enemy doesn't have enough damage to kill you. Flat out. so you can take a few risks with some risky jumps and all that. It's all about like bursting them down over time.
Yeah,
if you get what I mean.
I think mid Kha'Zix is pretty straightforward, especially early levels. You can kind of just let the lane push in and then jump on them between them.
I'll teach you how to play mid Kha'Zix in like three steps. All right. Step 1, you wait for level 2. Step 2, you wait for level 3 under turret. Step 4 or step 3, you wait for your jungler, get a free kill and then snowball. That's how you play mid Kha'Zix. Enjoy your LP.
Yeah, I think Kha'Zix needs a lot of
Sit at your
help with.
turret for level 3 levels and then you get free kills.
Yeah.
Just jump on them between the minion waves when they're isolated.
Even if they're not isolated, like even with a little bit of jungle help, you don't need that much. If they're if you wait, if you're against like an Ari and they burn their, she burns her charm, that's, TF burns his gold card. That's that's your 8 to 10 second window that you can just jump in for basically free. Like they have nothing that they can do back against you, except for a little bit of auto damage. So that's, you abuse that window and then you get a tiny bit of jungle help for level 3 and kill them.
You guys have any closing thoughts on that? Mid Kha'Zix, if you guys play any.
Well, the only thing I could think of is summoners and what you'd take mid.
No exhaust.
I've taken Ghost.
Ghost.
I don't know what else you would take.
Ghost.
Yeah.
As for evolutions, I think Q is still good for lane Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
You can
Auto
argue
range,
E.
Q range.
You can argue E evolve because you can, say you're ahead, you can kind of zone them away from the minion wave. I've done that a few times, but yeah.
And
I
you
think
can
Q
roam,
is-
shit like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck mid lane.
Yeah. Next
Fuck
Play
topic.
mid
Syndra.
lane, yeah.
If you're playing mid lane, just abuse mages. Like play Syndra,
Just
play
play
Orianna, or play jungle Kha'Zix if you like Kha'Zix. Like.
So next topic, guys, would be, what does this even mean? This isn't English. Would you guys build Black Cleaver as a 4th item or Last Whisper? I'm sorry, it's Toshiro's question. I unmuted you.
I mean, if you're going pen build, then you're overcapping CDR, so you don't want to go Cleaver at all.
If you go Cleaver, you're autistic.
you basically determine it before game. You determine if you want to go Bruiser build or Assassin or pen build.
If you're talking about a 4th item, then you should never. Cleaver should never be your 4th item. Either Cleaver is second after Warrior, and you don't go any pen, or you never build it. You don't bid it, or you maybe sell Warrior for it at 7th item, but that's, you probably get a chick of Death Dance is probably better. You know what I mean? It's just there's no reason for it.
Hi, it's me that made the question. I am a Ranger player, but I'm trying to get used to Kha'Zix. They said on Hanger Mains to build Warriors, Tractor, Yumud, and Black Cleaver because for the price it's better than Edge of Night.
How long ago did they tell you this? Because this might have been before when Duskblade didn't give CDR.
Yeah, it's gonna overcap you like crazy.
They said it doesn't matter, but I don't know. I don't feel like Black Cleaver. My favorite is Last Whisper.
There are always
I'd
Last
say
Whisper,
just
buddy.
build the Last Whisper.
It's tank meta. Hello.
It is definitely tank meta.
Also, you have to check your resources, right? You always have to check who's giving you information. If it's a gold 5 player, then 90% of the time you kind of want to disregard the information that you're getting. Like,
Wow.
Holy shit.
What? Wait, I was talking about Rengar means. Hello?
Oh.
No, wait, what? I don't know what rank rank is. What the fuck? I wasn't trying to like. Wait, what? I was talking about Rengar.
No, these low key throwing shots.
Wow.
Oh my god. Alright, dude, whatever.
The only time you build a Black Cleaver is when Black Cleaver stacked and it was the Black Cleaver meta.
Oh, League of Cleavers?
Yeah.
That was like season 5?
Yeah. That's the only time you build it.
Brutalizer.
Or I'm
Don't
Bruiser.
listen to Nazi. He's a good player.
So,
No. Yeah, next.
I was gonna ask if Rob had any closing thoughts and if Crash on Black Cleaver or Last Whisper 4th item.
Nope.
Alright, I don't think I have any either.
Okay. Next would be Dirk. Rob asked this one if it would be for Warrior or Duskblade. If you go Dirk first or Warhammer first. Part of the item.
If you're ahead, you go Dirk. If you're behind, you go Warhammer.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Although I have a question: if you're taking lethality rings, even if you're behind, wouldn't Dirk serve you better either way?
What do you mean, Warhammer?
I mean, the reason you go this. Sorry, you go.
No, what I was saying, Daniel, is even if you're behind, but if you're taking lethality runes, shouldn't Dirk be better either way because lethality just gets better when you stack it?
I guess so.
So I imagine if you're taking lethality runes, Dirk always should be better first.
I mean, it really depends how behind you are. Right? If you're behind like 2 kills, you would still go it if you're running lethality runes. If you're behind 6 kills, you go Warhammer just for the safer potential of it, right? Your lower cooldowns. You poke more with W, you leap away. It's all situational, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you're team fighting, you want the CDR because of W spam and alt cooldown, E cooldown, etc.
Yep.
If you're skirmishing, if you're 1v1ing, 1v2ing, or 2v2ing.
No.
Someone asked about crit Kha'Zix. Oh god.
Oh god.
That's autistic.
That's season 5 meta.
Yeah.
Zephyr, Triforce.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Oh boy.
I used to solo Baron.
Alright, are you guys ready for next topic?
Yeah.
This one's kind of expensive. What's the state of Kha'Zix matchups versus the more meta junglers right now? The ones that you'll see most often?
Well, right now the tank meta, you don't really like 1v1. You can't like sit there and kill a Nunu, because I mean you would win eventually 1v1, but the thing is like, you're not really gonna kill Nunu because if he ever gets low, he just fucking snowballs you and runs away because you can't catch him. So I mean it kind of depends what you're asking. Like it goes back to the team fighting situation against tanks like this. You just watch the VOD and we talk about that.
Yeah.
Or I mean, the super early game, you obviously can kill Nunu, but as soon as he gets enough health items that it takes like fucking 3 minutes of straight 1v1ing to kill him, like, you can't kill him. That doesn't mean he can kill you.
And then against Nunu, if he's level 6 and he happens to have 5 stacks in his passive and hits R, he can do like 1200 damage to you, because, you know, hey,
it's pretty easy to like leap out of that.
Well, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
So, Tingus or Dimir, you guys have an opinion? The jungle matchups right now?
I'm just gonna say, you play Kha'Zix and they pick something like Rammus, enjoy your negative LP.
Dimir's got a good point though, like that's
really
just
have
how the
much to
meta
say.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can really play around it. Like, you don't just walk up to Rammus and try to kill his ass. That's just not how you play the game. you don't walk up to Rammus, give me that ass, boy. He's not gonna bend over, dude. That motherfucker's got Cinderhawk Thornmail.
And he presses WR.
Like, when you play Kha'Zix, you don't just think, I'm gonna assassinate this Rammus. Like, you don't just play like that. Dude, I don't know.
Dude, just imagine I lost 1v1 against a 0-5 Rammus and I was 6-1.
Holy shit.
So it's back to the team fighting thing, right? Like, you just avoid tanks. It doesn't mean like you have to out 1v1 a tank to win the game. You just avoid them. Play differently. So
like, if they have 2 tanks, just dodge the game. Like, they have jungle tank and jungle top, or jungle or tank support, just dodge.
Incoming Demir's new VOD, negative 34 LP.
It's like...
He dodges 5 games.
Oh, what about the Zac matchup as well? He's pretty popular if he gets through.
Oh,
He got nerfed.
Zac, you can actually win 1v1.
Zac is still broken because of his...
He's still busted, but like you can still win the game. Like
Zac just CCs you for like 10 years.
But that's not his problem. It's the retarded Q and the ult.
Like, you win 2v2s and 1v1s against Zac, so you win skirmishes, but like during a team fight, if he ever lands his ult or E on you and he has follow-up, then you kind of lose if his team has follow-up. Basically, don't get hit by Z. That's like the biggest thing. If you don't get hit by Z, you win. And it's really easy to avoid a Z, especially as Kha'Zix.
Yeah, the problem is when the team fights start and they get like the tank items, then you just start losing.
If you don't have enough reaction speed or reaction time to react to Zac E, then go fucking play a game that enhances your reaction time. Like, that's baseline. That's about all it is.
Yeah.
So, could go over Warwick since he's a very popular pick. Since we're talking about meta junglers for matchups.
Warwick's cancer.
Yeah, complete AIDS of a champion. Can't kill him.
It's really bad matchup for Kha'Zix, I think.
Yeah.
If he knows how to play it. If the Warwick's brain dead, then like you win.
Yeah,
but...
like I can never kill Warwick. It's Such a dumb champion.
If he goes damage build, you win. If he goes full tank with Thornmail, Cinderhawk, Ninja Tabby, you lose. There's nothing you can really do.
Your only like real hope of 1v1ing him early is if you ult out of a Z and then avoid the fear. But even then, I mean, if he has his ult, you just lose anyway. It's a really hard matchup.
Yeah, you can't even invade him. It's actually retarded.
I mean, that's just Warwick being overpowered. It's not really like a matchup thing.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any counterplay, per se.
But then again, Warwick is kind of weak in the meta right now because Thornmail counters the fuck out of him. But even then, like, he's still a strong champ. You can still pick him and win.
I just want them to fix jungle.
Yeah, I think we all do, man.
Yeah.
You know something's wrong when supports outlevel you. It's.
I mean, I don't necessarily think jungle's that weak right now. I just think it's brain dead. It's play tanks.
It's mostly brain dead because like you don't get rewarded.
Yeah, that too. If you counter jungle, if you counter gank, you don't get rewarded that hard because no one falls behind because of catch-up XP and camp timers. There's no difference between like a fucking first-time jungler and a challenger jungler.
They really need to revert the timer. That will fix it, I think.
I mean, even then, even if they revert the timer, it's a good start. But like catch-up XP is way too strong and it's too abusable. Like, anyone can tell you in challenger, like you can legit be 3 levels down. And then you catch up XP with camps, and then you go take lane farm, and you're 30 CS down, but you're still up in levels compared to the enemy jungle, because you know how to abuse catch up XP mechanic. Like,
if you're level 5 and they're level 3, they clear once they're same level as you. It's retarded.
Yeah, and then they take a lane of farm from their laners, and they're ahead in levels. Haha, abusing catch up XP. XD.
Oh god, ketchup's cancer. XP.
Yep.
I
prefer mustard.
No, I knew that. I knew that was gonna happen.
I
knew that was gonna happen.
I said that. Like.
Wait. So Rob, you play a fuckload of Warwick, right?
Yeah.
What would you say the Warwick Kha'Zix matchup is like?
Well,
as
the most viable things you could build as Kha'Zix to kind of negate Warwick's damage is obviously don't rush him, but you could go Tabby Hex Drinker because Warwick Q does a lot of magic damage.
Yeah, Warwick's 60-40 total magic damage. 60% magic damage and 40% physical, so he does more magic than physical.
And then Tabby's for his ult because he gets a bunch of autos off, obviously. And then he obviously gets a bunch of attack speed the lower you are. You want to just negate as many of those autos and his Qs possible.
Yeah, but the problem is like you can't build just around Warwick, right? Because if you build just around Warwick, then their entire team just fucks you really hard.
So for example, if he's doing the best on the team, then you could build that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's pretty much it that I have to say.
Alright, next thing? What are we doing next?
We're just going over a few matchups that are the most common. Would you, like, should I mention Gragas or Lee Sin? Like, I know Lee Sin is very popular. You guys could have opinions on Lee?
Lee, you dodge Q and you win.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like 50-50 or?
The strong. I mean, he can just press like WE and he gets a ton of attack speed, but obviously he beats you in duels. But dodging the Q.
Does he beat you in duels though?
If he lands Q, he does at the start. But like, if he RQQs you, you don't die, and I think you win at that point because he won't have true vision. So, because if he sacrifices his Q to not have true vision, like the reason why dodging Q is so important is because he lands autos in your stealth if he holds his Q like on you. But if he doesn't land Q on you, or if he RQ instantly Qs you, then you just win the fight because you're invis. Like invis is the key point to winning that fight, winning the duel.
Do you know what I've been doing when I see a lot of tanks?
What's up?
Skip Warrior, skip Duskblade, just rush LDR first item.
I fucking.
Holy shit. That's interesting.
Yeah, I've been doing that when I see 2 or more tanks.
Please don't listen to Demir. Please ignore what you just heard.
To be able to ban roles in the game, like, can I ban tanks from the game, please? Or items. I would ban Thornmail, dude. Fuck that.
Instead of a 10 ban system, it's just a whole entire, like, role.
Yeah, exactly.
Type of champ. You guys have any other matchups you want to touch on? Or interesting? Zac asked the last one about Nocturne. I'll unmute him if he wants to ask anything more. Nocturne and Kha'Zix.
Just like because Kha'Zix is like all his abilities mean a lot early, so the spell shield is like pretty powerful, especially like for your passive.
I mean, if
and
you ever
then
actually
like,
see a Nocturne in game.
and you can't dodge his like ulti or his fear. It's like
Yeah, I mean,
you can
dodge it. If you ult and you kite back, you break the tether. And even if you don't, like, I think you just out damage him. Even if he shields your Q, then you just go invis, wait for your next Q, and then you land. Like, you're gonna get Qs off on him, guaranteed. The only way Nocturne like wins that matchup is if he 100 to 0s you because he's so ahead. Like if he's like 7-0 and he just ults you and you insta die, then you lose obviously. But
Dude,
even then you can invis and get away.
He's pretty weak early. If you just invade him, you can kill him.
Yeah, pretty much. And then
for Nocturne, I think one thing for Nocturne, I think if you want to do a 3 camp clear, because Nocturne is not going to get a spell shield till level 4, you can invade him at level 3 relatively consistently, and then because like he has no reason to get a spell shield till level 4 unless he's trying to do a 3 camp gank clear as well. So he's really easy to invade at level 3. That's like the easiest moment, guaranteed for split pretty much.
And next was Elise. Since it's not a tank, I'll just go over the remaining non-tanks.
Elise, you win really hard. You save your W, save your AoE for when she goes spider form, and you kill her spiderling.
I agree with what Demir said. Tiamat. Pretty good.
You kill spiderlings, you win. Even if you don't kill spiderlings, you win pretty hard. Like unless she's super ahead. Even when she's super ahead, you still like pretty much win if you can kill her spiderlings. If she's 7-0 and you're like 0-0-0 with Tiamat, you're still gonna win pretty much, unless she lands Cocoon and one-shots you.
Okay, if you guys want a tip on how to avoid Cocoon, when you're jumping on Elise, don't just jump straight on her. Jump to the side.
Or diagonally.
Jump to the right or left.
Or diagonal.
Don't jump straight, because they're gonna predict their jump.
And they're pretty much always going to build full AP, so they're always going to be killable.
Yeah, so if they're ever isolated in human form, then you just leap on and one-shot them. And it's the same with a lot of matchups, right? So like Syndra, Elise, Brand, shit like that, where they're gonna throw a stun on you. If you leap onto them and either go sideways or you can ult through them because your ult lets you move through units. So what I do is against Elise, Syndra, Brand, like I leap onto them, I combo them because you can Q mid-air obviously, and by the time you land, you buff your ult, and then you walk behind them because you go through them, and it's pretty instant.
Okay, next would be Nidalee, which, Mark, you want to lead that?
Fucking cancer. Fucking cancer. Delete that champ from the game.
I think it's really just if you dodge the Q, you win. Because if you dodge the Q, she has no counter to your ult. She has nothing. Yeah, she's useless. So dodge the Q, you win. If don't dodge the Q, you still win most of the time.
It really depends at what point in the game, because if you can kill Nidalee before she escapes, then you win the matchup, as long as you dodge spear. But there's going to be a point in time where like she gets probably Zonias or like one defensive item, and you can't 100 to 0 her, and she just outruns you because she has infinite mobility. So if she lands spear on you, you're dead because her passive now gets true vision instead of just her traps. So dodge spear. If she runs away, then whatever, cut your losses, don't tilt.
So instead
I can tell Nadia likes Nidalee. I can tell.
Fucking can't.
Instead of dueling, what about the Nidalee matchup for clear speed, like early on, clearing, pathing? Nidalee's
really
pretty fast.
Well, she's fast, but it's so dependent on how good you are with Nidalee, because like there's like a 30-second difference between a good one and a bad one. So it really just depends on how good they are. So it's hard to say about clear speed because Kha'Zix is a really fast speed, but against a good Nidalee, she's gonna catch you really quickly because she's gonna.
She'll just appear in your jungle and you'll be like.
Yeah, she's gonna be done with the same clear 20 seconds earlier if she's good. So.
Also, Nidalee is like one of the most important matchups where you hold your E, like I said earlier. You always want to hold your E. The thing is with Nidalee, if you blue smite and walk up to her and start fighting, and you don't get hit by you can't get hit by spear. And if she tries to leap away, then you have leap to finish, right? Like you always want to hold your E. Or if you start losing, then you can leap away, but she's probably gonna catch you. You just hold your E. Like you don't want to fucking leap onto her and she outruns you.
You know what I wish Riot did? Decrease warrior by 5 damage and decrease the cost by 200 gold, like they did with Cinderhulk.
Then I would just go Cinderhulk Kha'Zix.
Why?
Decrease the AD and increase the cost. Fuck that. I'm going
decrease the
Cinderhulk. decrease the cost and add 5 AD? That'd be busted.
No, like
No.
decrease 5 AD and decrease 200 gold.
Oh.
That would make it
Oh.
even more efficient than it already is, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what they did for Cinderhulk.
And
Yeah,
that
Why
yeah,
shouldn't they do it for that?
I mean, they also buffed a lot of different things about Cinderhulk too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Warrior's like not Warrior's not in a bad spot right now, so I don't think it needs a buff like at all.
Yeah,
No, it's just because tanks are in a way better spot.
Well, you just need to nerf
But the
tanks. So,
difference-
like, in situations like these, when tanks run around and they beat every single role in the game, that doesn't mean you buff the other roles. It means you just nerf tanks, because
They
every
need to
other
revert that Bambi Cinder buff by
Yeah.
just adding.
They need to
some
revert
coolback.
Thornmail, motherfucker. Look at that item.
Oh,
It has the best build path in the game.
I think
It
it's
does.
mostly just the champion reworks that are the problem, not even Thornmail.
Thornmail
They're
itself
just,
like
they're
is.
just
I mean,
adding percent HP to every champion.
is
That's the
autistic.
problem.
There's a lot of things wrong with tanks right now. Yes, the reworks were cancer. Like, Maokai was busted when they reworked them. But it's more of Thornmail, in my opinion. If they
I
removed
really-
Thornmail, tanks would still be strong. I agree. But they
I
wouldn't
really
be
don't
as
think like
plus as they
Thornmail's
are.
like the Thornmail itself is not that stupid. It's a really
Thornmail
inefficient item.
is-
Like Bramble Vest is really stupid. Bramble Vest for what it gives you is really stupid.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Thornmail,
that-
I mean,
that's
look
the
at Thornmail.
problem
The
with
thing
that.
people don't realize about Thornmail is it gives you fucking 75 armor. That's so much armor. And it gives
well,
you 50
compared
health.
to randoms, like because obviously right now crit ADCs are the big thing right now. You have your crit trifecta. So randoms is pretty much going to be useful in almost every game you play. So if you Thornmail itself is like not actually that
Yeah, Bramble's
great. It's just
just
Bramble
sticking on
Vest.
Bramble's better.
It's like compare Hex Shrinker
Wait,
with Maw, except
Mark.
then Hex Shrinker is way better. You know what I mean? That's kind of comparison with Bramble.
Dimir wanted to comment about Thornmail.
Oh, what'd you say?
Thornmail isn't that great. Like the problem right now is the Bramble West.
Yeah.
Like you just pick it up and
Yeah,
you
the-
just
the
counter
passive
any
of it.
sustain in lane.
Mm-hmm.
You
Exactly.
spend
That's why
900
Thornmail
gold
is
and you have the exact same.
That's
It's
why
like
Thornmail as a whole is gross. It's because it gives you Bramble's Vest, it gives you Cold Steel, it gives you 75 AD, 250 health, Grievous
Mhm.
Will.
It's kind of like Mortal Reminder and then Last Whisper plus Executioners. Like there's a clear difference between you get a lot more AD when you upgrade, but for Thornmail you like get almost nothing for upgrading it. It's just the components are so fucking good. Warden's Mail and Bramble Vest.
You
are
can
so
mostly
good.
sit
That's
on
why I
Bramble.
said it has the best build in the game.
Yeah,
It just has
it
the
has the
best
best
build
build path.
path.
The item itself is like.
Anyways, at the end of the day, it's like, what do you consider the build path an item as a whole, or like, it's the same thing. Like it's just broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think they just need to stop adding percent HP damage to tanks. Like,
I
they're
think
adding
everyone
it to
agrees.
everyone.
Yeah.
Like tanks one-shotting you is just come on.
Mm-hmm. Last matchup, I guess, would be the more melee ones, like Zinzao and Master Yi.
KhaZix counters attack speed champs really hard. Like you win all those.
Since that was sort of annoying, you just take red smite, but then you don't really like
I mean, it's annoying, but
Don't
because
even need it.
they can't hit you while you're invisible. But
Yeah, so like
Oh.
Zinzao should never get his third Q
you're
off
just
on you.
waiting for your
Oh.
cooldown to come off, so you just sit in your invisibility and hey, they're
Yep, that's exactly what I do for the Master Yi matchup. I'll just use my combo, and while I'm on cooldown, I'm just gonna sit on my ult, and he can't
Yep.
attack me. I'm just gonna sit there and then combo him again. Use the
That's like
second
the only
proc.
important thing for all the attack speed ones. Even
Yeah.
like honestly, like Kindred too, where you want to keep up with them when they're auto attacking you, is just sit in your ult and wait for your Q. Don't combat him. I mean, I know.
Yeah,
it's-
that's the biggest mistake that newer players to Kha'Zix make is they instantly come out of stealth. You wait in your stealth the entire time. Like you want to use it to
a
its full.
pretty easy matchup.
Yo, Tingus, you got any thoughts on any matchups or?
With any matchup, it's just about using your stealth properly. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Crash.
And dodging skill shots, etc. Like it's pretty simple stuff that you once you pick it up, like you know it forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crash, you got anything?
I feel like if you're not very adept with Kha'Zix, like you don't know his abilities and the matches and stuff like that, like as long as you can use the stealth like Tingus was saying, and then like when you're team fighting, just be in the correct position. Like the picks are so easy in any team fight. There's always an opportunity for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next topic.
Next topic. Ooh, we finally moved from that one. John asked this one. I can unmute him, but he asked, would you recommend Kha'Zix for climbing right now? I would
Yeah,
say
of
no.
course.
100%.
I would say yes.
100%.
Yes.
1000%.
I would say
Yeah.
yes.
Even with tanks being as strong as they are and such a significant part of jungling right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
The
Like,
thing
it
is,
seems-
it's like People right now are just instantly considering like Kha'Zix and auto lose against tanks, but that's just not true. Like you just have to play it differently. Like yeah, I agree, tanks are cancer, and I never
harder.
like this is my least favorite method or meta. But it doesn't mean you just instantly lose the game. Like Kha'Zix is still one of the most broken champs in the game right now.
Right.
You still have all the tools in your kit to carry yourself and keep climbing with your abilities on the champ. You have
If you don't end the game early, you just lose.
Yeah, kinda.
It just means that items like all the Arm Level Reminder are more important than they normally are, but it's still the exact same thing. Your prioritization of targets still remains the same. In that if I see that Tristana, I'm not just gonna. That's still your priority target. That's still your number one. So it just remains the same. It's good for planning.
It's back to that concept of like playstyle is not equal to strength, right? So whenever I'm talking about this season's Kha'Zix, his playstyle is different, and I don't like it at all, like the new Q and stuff. That doesn't mean he's weak. That doesn't mean he's weak at all. He's super strong right now. I just don't like the playstyle how it feels. There's a difference between playstyle and strength.
Yeah.
Having to auto for damage instead of Q. Yeah.
Yeah, if I want to auto, why don't I play fucking Talon? Like, why am I playing Kha'Zix if I want to? I don't know.
Let's change to spellcaster to the auto attacker.
Yeah.
Riot Games.
It's like how they changed Rengar. His fucking Q was an auto reset to a fucking. I mean, I guess it's still an auto reset now, but obviously it's more of a spell. It's like when you look at Kha'Zix and he's fucking lurking in a brush. What do you think? Like, what does Kha'Zix look to you? Does he look like an assassin? And then Riot's just like, nah, he looks like a fucking fighter to me, man. He looks like he's about to fucking beeline for the enemy tanks.
He looks like some DPS, yeah.
Like. Just look at Rift Herald. That's what a fighter looks like to me, dude. It's like if fucking Kha'Zix got swole as fuck, and then, like then you can make that champion a fighter.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with me. Just I don't know. Characters' appearances always throw me off on what they do. Like I never expected Shen to be a tank.
Yeah.
Like he just looks way too scrawny for that. Looks like your average.
Now if Shen was fucking deadlifting like 800, that would make sense, right? Like.
Right.
You're saying you don't consider Urgot a marksman? What? Wait, you're saying Mordekaiser's not a marksman? He was designed as one. Come on.
Was he?
Yeah, the rework. He was intended to be a marksman.
That sounds fucking retarded.
Remember season 5 Worlds? It was 100% pick or bin the entire tournament.
Was it really?
Yeah.
It was a Zed counter.
Yeah, just ADC. It was great.
That's cancer.
Won every game.
Anyways. Excellent.
Anyway. This one's pretty good question. What do you do if you're ahead, but your laners are feeding? Which is really general, but he said he has this problem a lot in games. He can't do anything about it.
Grow some balls.
It was on
You need to be...
Please, just...
You need to take your lead and you need to put it throughout the whole map. Like, I see so many players ask this question, and all they do is they say like, I power farm and try to increase my lead. Like that's the opposite of what you should be doing. You need to spread it throughout the whole map.
If you're not doing anything with the kills, you're just like taking gold away from your team.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've had games where I've been like 20-0 and that kind of thing, but then because I make a mistake and I throw our lead down, I'm the only one with kills, and then we end up losing a team fight because no one else on the team has any gold. So if you're not doing anything with it, then you may as well just be AFK. Like you're still not. Yeah. You're still not.
The thing with Kha'Zix is so many objectives you can solo by yourself. As soon as you're level 6, you can solo Drake without losing like any health. You're still full HP, so there's no threat to it. Like. You could solo it earlier at level 5, but you're gonna be fucking low as hell.
Yeah.
But as soon as you're level 6, as soon as you're level 6, you're full HP clearing any Drake in the game. So there's no threat to it. If anyone walks up to you, you kill them because you're in your biggest power spike. If as soon as Rift Herald spawns, you can solo it and stay full HP as long as you dodge the fucking AoE sweep, which is really easy to dodge because that shit takes like 3 seconds to charge up. Like, then once again, if you can't dodge that, go take a reaction time test and just get yourself better. Like, everything he can solo. He can split push. He's good at split pushing unless you lose the 1v1 if they're so ahead. But even then, like, so many things you can do by yourself. You can make picks by yourself. You can split by yourself. You can get Dragon, Rift Herald. Like, you don't need a team for all of those.
Rob Tinges or Crush, you got anything for if you're behind, or I mean,
Thing is,
if
like,
you're ahead and your lane is
if you're
feeding.
ahead, you just need to be hyper aggressive. You can't be sitting in your jungle doing jack shit. You need to like grow some balls, and you need to.
wolves. I need wolves.
Fuck the wolves, man. You need to get out and start killing shit. Actually applying pressure and not wasting your kills.
If you're ahead, you should honestly be farming their jungle more than you're farming yours, or as much as you're farming yours, because you grab a pink, you grab 2 pinks even, you go put him in the bush behind red buff, and the bush behind turrets, and then you have vision for the next 5 minutes until someone finally destroys it. And then you farm the jungle, you get their kills, you solo kill the jungler because you're so far ahead, and it doesn't matter that your laners are so far behind because you're able to put so much pressure as a Kha'Zix when you're ahead.
Yeah. And
when you're ahead, you want to be the focus of their attention.
Yep. You want to apply pressure on
you.
them.
Yeah.
I think Rob could give an interesting opinion on this because when he's ahead and his lanes are feeding, I know that his style is to just farm heavily a lot and just catch up that way, but I don't know. Because he feels like... am I speaking for you if I'm saying it feels like you're wasting time if you're trying to help losing lanes?
I used to do that last season when farming was a lot more relevant before catch-up XP.
Yeah, exactly. Farming was always better, pretty much.
But as of recently, I've been doing that a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
So you are right in a way.
I will say one thing though, if you are ahead on Kha'Zix, one of the most important things in the game in general is getting attention from the enemy jungler. Like Nandi was saying, if you get the attention of the enemy jungler, you pull him to your lane. So let's say, you're in the red side jungle. You just go top lane. Go to that tier 1 turret, proxy the wave, like make the wave go into their turret, and then the jungler either has to come top or you dive the top lane and get the turret. Like that's the two choices they have. So if you're ahead, you can force those so easily because you will win on the 2v2s, and then they either have to give up the turret or die for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to force. You have to force.
What's up?
What if I'm like proxying their top lane wave, but I take like 5 of their CS during that? So my top laner gets like tilted, right?
Well, if they
takes my Gromp and my blue buff and my wolf camp.
Fuck your top
Who cares? If
they deserve to lose that game then.
If they take your Gromp, who cares? Like
if you're making the right
Gromp means nothing to you.
If you're making the right play, like 100% of the time in solo queue, it may be the wrong play for that game, right? Because of how people are, but that doesn't mean it's the wrong play. Like you can die making the right play, and your team fucks up. It's better to die making the right play than to make the wrong play just for like a certain time, because you want to get yourself in the habit of making the best play optimally.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you have to remember when you're counter jungling, it is also helping your team, because when you counter jungle, so if you go on the top side of their jungle and you take every camp and you throw down 2 wards, the one next to Wraiths and then the one in front of red buff where red buff is looking, if you get vision there, then you know where the enemy jungler is until those wards run out, because you either know that he's in that jungle or he's in the bot side jungle, which also helps your laners because they know when they're going to get ganked. And if they don't remember that, then when you have wards there and you see that the jungler's not there, then you just ping missing in the opposite side of the jungle and you tell your bot lane, hey, he's probably bot side. Don't fucking play up or you're going to die. So counter jungling is super important because you get to control the game until your wards run out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you want your wards to live at least 10 minutes, always the brush where red buff's looking and the one right next to wolf camp, they're always gonna last a really long time.
Also, pinks are super important. People never buy pinks, and it's 75 fucking gold, denies vision, and also gains you vision.
Yeah, important.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The pink wards, they'll never look at the camp where wolves are really.
Yeah.
Where red buff's looking at.
Also, if your laners are feeding, toss them a pink ward, dude. And if they're still feeding when they have vision of the enemy jungle, then they deserve to lose the game. Whatever, move on. You have to remember at the end of the day, losing games for those reasons aren't your fault, and it's better to lose games like that than losing games because it's your fault. It's the same concept, right? When you're fucking smurfing and you have a 90% win rate in fucking gold elo and someone's talking shit to you, then you know at the end of the day that you're gonna fucking outrank them and get the hell out of that rank because you're a better player, and they're gonna sit there and stay there. Always look to improve and and make the right play.
Do you have any closing thoughts, Greg or Crash?
Crash, do you have anything to say first?
No, I don't. Wrapped up well.
So for evolutions, there's been some more variety recently with our evolve and some other weird orders that people are trying and testing. So could start with that.
And there's definitely been some success. I feel like our evolve with the buff, it's become a little more useful. Being able to, do specific things with it and apply pressure is actually really useful. It can be used in very specific ways.
I'm just yeah.
I think it's
Sorry,
pure
Nidalee.
cheese, which isn't
And-
wrong. I mean, like, it's not bad, but it legit is just pure cheese. Like,
it's
it's
pretty
Evelynn
cheesy,
passive.
yeah. It's
But the
pretty
thing
cheesy,
is the reason why it's working and has so much success right now is because people, like, in Kha'Zix means, they have a biased opinion, right? Like, we know what it does. But if you go in fucking Challenger right now, I guarantee you, if you find a Challenger game with 10 different people and you ask them all what Kha'Zix R evolution does, 90% of those people won't have a fucking clue what it does. They still think it has 3 charges.
Yes.
So when a fucking Kha'Zix comes out in Invis, like, from 3 seconds stealth, they have no idea. They're just dead. They're gonna die to it over and over again.
Yeah, it is really cheesy. I think Tinjas can definitely explain it the best.
Okay.
but-
Every evolution is trash in comparison to evolved Q when you're not ahead.
Yeah.
Because Q offers way too much to pass up when you're not ahead. When you're ahead, you don't need that. You might not need an extra Q because you deal so much burst that a second Q is going to kill them anyway, or an extra passive proc is going to kill them anyway. But when you are ahead, I'd say most evolutions are viable. At level 6 anyway, I wouldn't say W is very good because E and R give you so much more utility in the early game.
Yeah.
So yeah, R, you can consider it cheese.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, cheese
because,
isn't a bad thing.
No one, even in Challenger, a lot of people don't respect invisibility. Like, invisibility is such a strong mechanic. So I feel like you can just abuse it really easily once you have that big lead and can just burst people down out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
If you chain a stealth, do they see that when you activate ulti? Like, if you use it while you're stealth from the passive?
I never seem to...
I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah.
I never seem to
pretty
chain
easy to
my
test.
stealth with the
I mean,
cast.
you see the animation, you see the little thing appear on your
Like
screen.
little,
but you
You see the circle that indicates that Kha'Zix resulted?
Yeah.
Oh, you do see that, okay.
I actually
that's
no,
what I
I
was
was actually because I was playing an Elise game today, and the Kha'Zix on the enemy team did evolve, and I walked into a bush and I saw a little blue thing, and I wasn't thinking, and I'm like, oh, Kha'Zix is here, and he tried to kill me, and then he failed because he was a fucking retard.
I think it's basically the same as like Shaco, where you can see the orange puff of smoke.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, a good player, even good players, they fuck up, right? Like, they won't. They'll be like, "What the fuck was that? Was that a visual bug on my screen?" And then then an actual bug comes out.
They just happen. Yeah. They just happen to be looking in there. They see the orange puff. They see the circle, and they're like, "Okay, that's a Kha'Zix. It's a Shaco."
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely situational. It's not like Q is the safest. It's the best evolution, but everything is situational and everything can be used.
I think it's the same as like Thunderlords versus Stormraiders. Q is going to be the most consistent, just like Thunderlords is going to be the most consistent. But you can make arguments for taking other stuff in specific scenarios. You know what I mean? But Q is going to be the most consistent for most of your games. Is how I see it.
Yeah.
Q will always be your staple evolution.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they make it like not give bonus damage or something, they would have to make it like which doesn't involve Q at all. They would have to make it so like when someone's isolated, fucking gain 20 move speed or something. I don't know. Like they would have to make it not related to Q at all because that's your main damage source. So yeah. Even win ahead, like Q is still the best because objective taking is super important. Like Dragon, Herald.
Forcing objectives is so easy to do.
And Camp Clear. And Camp Clear is fucking double speed when you have Q evolve.
So those are all the first evolutions. What about for second Evo level 11? Is it just, do you always want E or?
I think
If you don't already have it.
I think E is arguably better in every situation.
Yep.
And
you're in solo queue. By that time, you're having your basic team fights. You're having that time where you want to make the aggressive plays, where you want to jump in and take out the ADC that's caught out, and you need your E evolve by that time. You need it.
Even E in competitive, even E second in competitive, I think is just flat better. Just because something's meta doesn't mean it's always the best, right? Like, for the past fucking 3 seasons, I can name champs that weren't meta for the longest time, and nothing changed, and like fucking a year later they became meta because people started picking it up. Like, just because something meta doesn't mean it's always right. That's why I always disregard the meta. Unless it comes to banning, because obviously pick rate matters when banning. Because if something's picked 1 game out of fucking 50, then there's no reason to ban it. If something's picked every game and it's strong, it's definitely better to ban.
I definitely think there's an argument to be made for W second, at least in high
Not in the
master.
solo queue, I don't think.
I mean, I'd say high master challenger because Rob Double John was doing it too. Like he usually is evolving W second now, just
But
because of
does he
the
still
like
do it?
like sometimes I'm pretty sure, but I see him evolve E a lot, but. It has a like massive like pick potential, like that's slow.
But the thing is the thing is people argue W for pick potential, but the thing is E is just straight up better for pick potential and skirmishes because it guarantees you an out and you close a gap way faster than W. You apply
think
the
about
slow.
it like this. Think about it like, would you rather have a slow or would you rather be able to jump in there and get your Q auto off and have a guaranteed escape? What would you rather have? I'd rather have a guaranteed escape once I get the kill. Not, I slowed them by 40%.
Or just a
off.
slow dispenser for your team to like follow up.
Yeah, I guess it's more useful for Bruiser probably, but
If I was in high elo and I was
definitely
behind,
like,
QW might be better. If I was behind and I'm just there to spam W.
it definitely benefits your team more.
See, this is where the argument really is like.
Do you
So send me a clip where someone was getting picked by a Kha'Zix with W evolve and E evolve isn't better there. So like 90% of the time, if someone's alone and you're trying to pick them with W, you always want to hold your E. Remember how we were discussing this earlier? Holding E is super important as Kha'Zix. So if you land your 80% slow on someone and you E in, and then out of nowhere their mid lane Cinder shows up, you're fucking dead. There's nothing you can do, 100%. Whereas fucking E evolve, you either kill them and get out, or you hold your E and you catch them anyways because you have blue smite, right? Like, there's no situation where W will make a pick better than E because the gap is so much further. Like, your leap range is increased, and you also get a guaranteed out, no matter what. Also, in skirmishes, you kill one person and you can instantly go on the next, whereas W evolve, you can't instantly leap onto the next person.
Yep,
you're sitting there.
8-second cooldown on how fast you can engage.
Exactly.
Does anyone else just evolve E at level 11 just because it's way more fun than having no wings?
Yes.
How can you live without having wings? It's so... it just feels so bad.
Lines change when you evolve your E and it feels so much better.
I've actually been... I really enjoy like going sort of Bruiser Kha'Zix, even though it's not very good for my elo and my situation.
I mean, if you go Bruiser Kha'Zix, you're not really playing for fun anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone mention Evolve W for picks though. I've only ever heard it just for like team fights. Like,
well, even in team fights, right? It's way safer to go E because if you ever like your evolve W, all you're getting for a team fight is a 40% slow. That's it. That's all you're getting for team fights, and maybe an 80% slow if they're retarded. But if they're in the position to get 80% slowed, then they're also in the position for you to leap in, kill them, and leap out with E, which is 100% better. In any situation, if they're isolated to get hit by an 80% slow, then they're isolated for them to die and for you to get out. 100% of the time.
In most situations, you don't take Evolve W for like, pick potential, wow, peeling. No, you take it for the slow in general.
Yeah, but I agree. So, people evolve W second for the slow during team fights. But at that point, if you're picking Kha'Zix to get a 40% slow in team fights, play another fucking champion. Why are you playing a champion for a 40% slow in a team fight that does no fucking damage? It does like fucking 300 damage. It depends on what point of the game, obviously, but it does no damage. 40% slow. That's it. That's all you're getting. Play a champ with an AoE CC. Play a fucking tank. Play anything else.
So
there's zero reason to play it for the Evolve W for team fights. Like, and at the end of the day, you can still argue that Evolve E is better because if you start winning the team fight, then you instantly kill all of them. Like what we were discussing earlier, Kha'Zix is a win more champion when he has wings evolved. As soon as you start winning a team fight, you 100% kill all 5. There's a huge difference between killing 3 people and killing 5 people in League of Legends. That's the difference between getting 1 tower, getting 2 towers, getting 3 towers, and then inhib. Like, there's a huge difference there. and that's why wings will always be better, is because it's better in almost every situation if you know how to play it correctly, right? Like if you're brain dead and this is your first time Kha'Zix, go ahead evolve W because you don't know anything better than to
You're
throw
not
out your
going to be able to utilize the E reset enough.
Yeah, exactly. Like anyone with half a brain can play evolve W Kha'Zix because all you're doing is just fucking
tapping the W.
Super linear.
You don't even have to press it that fast. You press it every 10 seconds. Like, it's really easy to play, but that doesn't mean it's better.
Look at the
The
skill.
evolving E opens up so many options, like so much decision making that you have to be experienced with.
I think the most important thing is it allows you to make riskier plays that you can't otherwise make.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's the biggest thing because you're an assassin. You need to make risky plays. Every other assassin in the game has a way to get out of a shit situation after they get a kill. Katarina, her passive gives her not a reset or her E reset. You know, Talon just jumps over a wall. All these other assassins have ways to get out after getting a kill.
Existence, just say Echo. Echo just hit her.
Yeah, so they all have ways to get out after getting a kill. If you don't evolve your E, you have no way of getting out after getting a kill unless you didn't need your E. You know what I mean? You have no way of getting out. So you're just gonna die. You're gonna go 1 for 1. Well, great. You're now, you know, the 6-1 Kha'Zix that just went 1 for 1. Good job. You just lost the fight. You know, going 1 for 1 is a loss at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're level 11, you're fed. Going 1 for 1 is a loss. Not having E evolved is a loss.
Especially with the shutdown. Yeah.
Are we gonna talk about like?
We should start
the
wrapping
meta
up really
and stuff.
soon.
Yeah, so let's finish. How many questions are left? Light?
Actually, I think we can wrap it up with evolutions because I wanted to wrap it up around 11. It's 11 right now. So.
Fine. Well, I think so. What I think we should do to wrap it up is first we can talk about evolutions, and then after that we should discuss like what we think Kha'Zix's playstyle should be if we had the chance to change him. I think that's what should end the discussion.
Okay, would be some good resolution. So,
wait, we just did evolutions, didn't we?
The last thing was like a third evolution, but
third evolution W is always better because late game, what is your R gonna give you?
I think W at level 16 is probably like the last biggest spike that you're gonna get. It's such a huge spike. It's actually
it helps
massive.
your team fighting.
Everyone says that W's for team fighting. Well, you're skirmishing you're like ganking at 6, you're skirmishing at 11, you're team fighting at 16. That's why you have those 3 evolutions. You're ganking and you're dueling at 6, that's why you evolve Q. You're skirmishing at 11, that's why you evolve E. You're team fighting at 16, that's why you evolve W. There's no reason to evolve R.
Yeah, W just helps your team fighting even more. Like, E is really strong for team fighting, obviously, because of resets, but W just helps it out absolutely more. So now that isolated person that you're going to pick with your E, leap in, leap out, now they're 80% slowed, and you can leap in, leap out. Like, it just helps your picks and your team fighting more. Basically, it's just a worse version of E, right? Like, it's not as good as E, but it's like it's a smaller version. So once you get that and your E, it's just really strong when you can get into those situations.
The thing about like R evolved is it's pretty much 100% only early game. Like if you want to like argue for it, but then when you get to late game, you can't evolve Q or else you don't have W for team fights or E for skirmishing. Or
once you get to late game with R evolve, then like all those other abilities evolves that scale, like all those evolves QW or QEW, they all scale. They're good early and late, whereas R is only good early. So like you're losing a lot.
I kind of disagree with that.
Okay. What would you say?
R is useful so long as things are taking place in the jungle. So long as you're around bushes, you can abuse it. Even if it's like just the bushes near mid lane, I'm still sure that you can use evolved R.
Yeah, but like
evolved R is so
less objective pressure.
It's so situational that it's not very worth to take it over W at level 16 because 16 evolved W will provide way more. And even I agree. I only take R at 16 in very situational scenarios.
Well, the reason why.
I think if you're taking R at like level 16, you're not planning on going Q. You need to have something that can DPS objectives, like a Cassiopeia or something that'll help you DPS objectives because you're losing out on a shit ton of DPS by doing that. But you're not losing out on any like burst damage, so you can still smite Baron and Dragon just the same. You're not losing out on that. But if you want to go like RAW or something, you need to have something that can DPS objectives. You need to have a Cassiopeia Drasana kind of thing, you know?
Well, I think Q should be just mandatory in all scenarios.
Yeah, I agree.
So you're saying R at 16? Okay, I thought you were doing R at 16.
R at 16 sometimes. I feel like it can be useful, but W is obviously way better.
Okay.
The thing is that 16, no matter the evolution, like they're still going to be better than R because where at 16, when you're level 16, where are you on the map? You're at inhib towers. You're either at defending your inhib towers or you're at their inhib towers sieging. So there's no brush around that area of the map. So you're not really utilizing R at all. It's just a wasted evolution at the point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
W poke is just
if
so good
things
in
are
this
still
situation.
taking place in the jungle, then it can be useful.
And like the W poke is just so good in those situations for sieging and pushing people off of towers and getting people low.
Yeah, but that's also why R falls off so hard, is because eventually you're gonna get to that spot in the game where there is no brush. Like, no matter what, you're always gonna have to push through inhib towers and access towers, and there's no brush around it. So no matter what point in the game, there's always gonna be a point where you're defending where there's no brush, or you're attacking where there's no brush. Like, there's no way of going around that unless you're, like, AFK and your team's 4v5. Like, that's the only time that there would be no brush.
That's why you draft the Iron support, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
Buff Kha'Zix, brush.
Rengar top, Evelynn jungle, Kha'Zix mid. Let's fucking go, dude. That's the dream comp.
Just have like literally everything that plays around bushes. Let's have let's toss in a Nidalee mid there, you know.
Caitlyn 80 carry?
Yeah, exactly. Let's just toss in all that shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
I believe.
Oh my god. Fucking Nid and Kate trap the brush.
Oh.
So if they walk into it, they die? Yeah. Alright, anyways.
Do you guys have
are we
any
wrapping it up?
closing thoughts on evolutions? Crash, you haven't said much about it.
No, I don't really have much thought. Like right now, I'm just taking R evolve. Like when I'm really serious and I want to win because that'll play potential, and then that's pretty much it.
R evolve first.
I don't take it first usually. I usually take Q or W or E first, and then I'll take R second.
E first. That's interesting.
Are you saying like ERQ or ERW?
Yeah,
It's more
first is
E first.
First isn't bad. It's good for the dives and like closing the gap quicker. It's good when you're fed. It's an option besides R. When you're fed, of course.
Okay, let's wrap it up with what Nutty suggested. What Kha'Zix should
So
be.
I'll ask the question. You guys can start, and I guess I'll finish
Yeah,
it.
Nutty, you can wrap it up.
Should be a fighter. Change everything to DPS, you know?
Okay, so what do you guys think about Kha'Zix's current playstyle compared to his old playstyle? And what? Okay, actually, not compared to old. Okay, so what do you just think about his playstyle now, and what do you think it should be? Do you agree that it should be what it is now, or do you think it should be changed?
Let's go in, let's call people to talk. So we could go through each.
I mean, let's just see what they have to say in Kha'Zix discussion, and then we can let them talk.
People are here.
If anyone's here, lol.
A lot of people are just listening as if it's a fucking podcast or something.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
I mean,
one of you guys can lead as well while they're.
because we
forming
want
their
anyone's
thoughts.
opinion. This is just playstyle wise. Like, do you have fun? And also, I think you have to give an opinion. You would have to have played old Kha'Zix. You can't just play new Kha'Zix because then you have nothing to compare it to, right?
Yeah.
So
I think anyone that's played old Kha'Zix preferred old Kha'Zix to this Kha'Zix just because you had more burst potential. Outside of the brand new Duskblade having so fucking much, but I don't think anyone prefers this level of burst compared to the old level of burst. I think any Kha'Zix player wants burst over DPS, so the new Q evolve isn't as it doesn't feel as good as it used to.
Yeah, I
think that's in general, but. Then at the same time, if you had an old Q evolve plus new Duskblade, you'd actually just murder everyone in their sleep. Like, holy shit.
yeah, but that's just the item being overtuned. It's not really like because look at Zed right now. Like Zed is fucking hella busted, but it's not like he's been busted the entire time. It's just the items that have been buffed are too strong, and so it makes him too strong. Also, I think people aren't used to assassin meta yet. Like, don't get me wrong, I think assassins are broken right now just because of the items, but people aren't used to it. It hasn't been assassin meta for so fucking long where you just get one shot if you fuck up, like missed position. But like at the end of the day, what's the difference between getting one shot by a Syndra from a safe distance compared to getting one shot by a melee assassin sacrificing their position to kill you? Like, people I think just get intimidated when a champion gets up in their face and one shots them. I think people just like have some sort of idea in their brain that they're just like, wow, this feels so oppressive because he's next to me. Whereas a Syndra fucking across the map ulting one shotting you, people don't complain as much, So like Rengar in the old days, leaping onto you and one-shotting you when he's 10-0, people thought that was more impressive than a 0-0-0 Syndra one-shotting you with ult. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. People like, it's fucking forgot what I was gonna say. People, yeah, you are right about like nobody is used to like being one shot, and the whole point of the assassin rework to sort of, you know, quote unquote balance assassins was to delay their burst, but
that just
they
turns
already
them into
had
fighters.
Yeah, it just turns them into fighters.
Anytime you delay an assassin's burst, they instantly build bruiser. You can't argue that assassin builds better unless assassin build or items are just straight up better.
Like,
but right?
A few months after the rework, like AD Fizz, like the Triforce Bork Fizz, that shit became like meta instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was counterplay to them already. It's like macro. Yeah, like if there's a 10-0 Rengar on the enemy team and you're an 0-6 Draven, you don't go split push a side lane by yourself and then complain about how assassins are broken. That's just poor decision making.
Yeah. Also, people shouldn't get me wrong, right? Like, I think there should be a condition to one-shotting or bursting someone, right? So, like, Fizz being 0-0-0, full AP, and he one-shots you when you're, like, in the middle of your wave or, like, you're not even out of position, he just dives you and gets out. I think that's unhealthy. But there has to be a condition to where if you fuck up, an assassin should be able to one-shot you, right? So, like, Kha'Zix's clear counterplay is isolation. If you're not isolated, you're only losing half your health to, 25% of your health to 50%. If you're isolated, you're dying. Because that's the mechanic. Like, that's where you fucked up, is when you're isolated. Or if an assassin is so fed, like 20-0, I think you deserve to die, obviously. It's so tilting when you're 20-0, full pen, and you cannot kill anyone on the map. It's just the dumbest shit in the game, and it tilts the fuck out of it. Like,
let's move to the next person, so everyone gets their final thoughts. So, Tingus, you want to lead next?
I would just like Kha'Zix to be more complex. So right now, as after the rework, Kha'Zix is so brain dead as to how you play him. You jump on someone, you auto attack them, and then if they don't die, you spam your Q for like 10,000 years, and then they die. It's just not fun. It's very tedious. So all I want is, I don't know, some sort of mechanic to make Kha'Zix actually have a reason to play carefully again.
Yeah. So I can actually,
that mechanic could be isolation. Like isolation pre-rework was that's the best thing.
So the core thing is that made Kha'Zix face roll is two things, right? So like Q, the old Q was if you leaped onto someone in the middle of a wave, what bad players would do is they wouldn't hold their Q. They'd instantly Q, and your Q is now on a 5-second cooldown, and you have to wait. And if they walk away and they walk out of that wave, you can't punish them, and they're gonna live. Whereas a good Kha'Zix player would wait until he either walks out of the wave or you clear the wave, and then he would become isolated and you would kill him and punish him. New Q, it's such a low fucking cooldown that you can press it at any time you want, and you don't get punished or anything. You just get rewarded no matter what, because it's like spamming Evelynn Q. Like, there's no right time to hold Evelynn Q. You press it. Like, you press it no matter what. It's the same with Kha'Zix Q now. Also, his passive got so buffed that it makes him way too face roll. Like, his passive doesn't have any mechanic to avoid it, right? There's nothing you can't play around Kha'Zix passive. It just hits you. He can always prep it with his ult or just before he runs in, and it's gonna hit you, and it hits like a fucking truck. So they have to nerf passive cooldown or passive damage, and they have to make Q more rewarding for isolation and more punishing for non-isolation.
So, Tingus, any continuation what you're saying?
No, not really.
And the second part was, what do you think you should be? But could go in hand with what you were saying.
What he should be what?
Like what
he should be an
state he
assassin.
should be in. Okay.
Like full stop. He should be an assassin that rewards good play and not jumping on someone and one-shotting them instantly, regardless of the situation.
So next would be Demir. Are you here?
What?
Did you remember the question?
I just wanted to say that Kha'Zix actually never really required mechanics or skill.
I mean, it kind of depends what players you're playing against, right? Because bad players will isolate themselves, whereas good players will not isolate themselves or like play into Kha'Zix's strength. If you're playing against bad players, they're gonna walk into isolation. They don't know Kha'Zix. Like, then you can punish them. It takes skill to know how to.
Yeah, before it was kind of hard because if you hit your 9 isolated Q, then you had to wait your cooldown and you had no other damage.
Like, I don't mean Kha'Zix should be more complex mechanically. I meant like mentally.
Decision making wise.
Yeah, decision making wise. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
like
right
the
now
old
he's
Q.
really brain dead.
Like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
old Q. Like now you
Exactly.
just auto. It's retarded.
Yeah, exactly. It's just there's no decision making now. It's like, do I go in or do I go in? That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thought process you have.
Okay. So, anything else?
Also, the reason why the new Q design is so bad is because it's just unhealthy for the game, right? Because it's a sustained damage ability now. So either you outduel tanks because you have infinite damage, because you're not. Wow, that was good breathing. All right. Anyways, you're not capped. You're not capped by cooldowns, right? You have infinite damage. You can keep going forever. You can just out damage them. Whereas old Q, you wouldn't sit there and spam Q for fucking 30 minutes and be able to out DPS them, you know? But the problem is, if they nerf Kha'Zix Q to not be able to outduel tanks, then you can no longer outduel squishies. So now Kha'Zix is the most useless champion in the game if you ever nerf his Q so much that he can't outduel tanks. Because he won't be able to outduel squishies. Now who does Kha'Zix kill? He can't kill squishies, he can't kill tanks, he can't kill fighters, like he doesn't win. If you buff it so he can kill tanks, he can now kill everything else in the game. It's too poorly designed, you know, from the
Just
designers.
imagine that, like, they keep nerfing his Q, but like there are champions like Talon and Zed that still exist. Just one shot you.
Zed is fucking cancel. I hate that champ.
Like Talon, you don't even like. Oh my god, his WQ ults, you're
Talon
dead.
is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think,
Also,
just an assassin, like Riot needs to pay attention to the player base more because they don't know the champions that they make. Like they don't pay attention to them enough. Yeah.
They do, but not to like the high ceiling, right? Like if you're playing a champion to its fullest potential, like it's not their fault that they don't do that. Like there's just players that dedicate their lives to playing fucking thousands of games on one champion. Obviously that person's gonna know more than a person that like barely plays it. Like it's not their fault that they don't know every single mechanic, every single like little thing about Kha'Zix because they don't have the time to put in fucking 6,000 games a season on Kha'Zix.
It's more. I feel like it's just more about like how you should in assassins in general because delaying their burst makes no sense. That's not.
Yeah, it just turns them into a fighter. No matter what you do, if you give a champion, take away their burst and give them sustained damage, they're gonna build fighter and they're gonna become a bruiser / fighter. That's exactly what happened with Rengar. It's exactly what happened with Kha'Zix. Like if you delay their burst, then they become fighters. And also the thing with Kha'Zix I want to finish up on is like there's less styling, which actually means a lot to me. Like. You double jump way less, and it's not because it's like harder. It's just because the situations are less, you know, because your Q doesn't hit as hard that you have to wait for the enemy champion to be a lot lower health now. And if they get shielded or anything like that, you're not going to be able to double jump. And which actually it means a lot to me, honestly, because I think there's like you can actually do a lot of different shit, like triple jumping, fucking backwards doubling, like shit like that. I respect that a lot, you know. Like I miss that in the game. It means so much to me, and that shit got removed. And like I honestly wouldn't mind the new Q right now if I could still be able to do that as frequently. But it's not like it's a skill thing where it's gotten harder. It's just there's less situations where you can double jump. You know.
So, Greg, do you have any thoughts on what do you think it should be, or is it in line with what's been said so far?
Definitely in line with what it's said so far. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd just be repeating the same thing.
Mark, you haven't really played old Kha'Zix, but do you have an opinion on where it should be taken if he was changed?
No, not. Yeah, I don't really have too much of an opinion on that, just because I haven't played enough of it. In terms of like old versus new Kha'Zix and all that kind of thing.
Okay, and then that just leaves us with Crash. Crash, you can have the final words on this.
I think the way Kha'Zix is now, like with the Q changes that have been made, like I don't care that you're just spamming like Q brainlessly, but like just knowing that you have an assassin who is like so focused on just this one ability, like it's not healthy for the game. Like if you take away Kha'Zix's Q, like compared to the old one, like he's so useless now in this meta.
Unless you just go berserk.
So, are we wrapping it up?
Yeah, I feel.
Alright, so...
Good session.
What do you think, Daniel?
I'm gonna unmute everyone, so...
Okay.
If anyone wants
Well,
to say anything.
to wrap up the play style, I think to wrap it up, basically reduce the damage on his passive to make him not an auto champion anymore. Like obviously, it's important to include that in the combo, but I don't think it should be all about the passive. Like the passive's damage needs to get reduced, and the Q needs to get reverted, or needs to be more rewarding in isolation and less rewarding in unisolated, because the base damage is too high, and the isolated damage isn't like significant enough to like surprise you, I mean, I guess it is strong, but it's more of your passive damage that is surprising people. If you watch videos of any Kha'Zix or just play it, you know that your passive damage isn't.
And Thunderlord combo to Thunderlord.
Yeah.
I mean, Riot's silver balancing team was like, oh no, Kha'Zix is one-shotting me before he even lands. Alright, let's make him so that he has to land and then
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
that gives us counterplay window.
Yeah.
I love how his W is changed to an Ezreal Q. My favorite part about the rework. Absolutely useless ability.
Yeah, pretty good.
8-second
I love
Ezreal Q.
shotgunning people.
They need to
his
make it so
W
you
is
can
still
auto
pretty
in the air.
important. Like, Kha'Zix's W is still really important. Yeah, I mean, it's essential for a lot of things, right? It's essential for the heal. It's essential for poke. Like, if you leap onto someone, you always hold your W. You always hold it unless you need the heal from it. Either use it for the heal, or if they flash away and you don't have a second dash to follow it up, then you execute the kill with your W, right? Like, your W is still pretty important to your kit, but just because it's not as good as Q doesn't mean it's bad. So, that's my take on it.
One quick question: where you guys tend to max second? Do you tend
W,
to one
for sure.
W?
W.
Don't tell me you actually max E.
Some
some
people are actually giving arguments
No,
for maxing E
what-
second.
No.
I've heard a few of them.
Yeah, a
Waffle
couple
and I-
people
Cooldown.
who I play with keep telling me to try it for the lower cooldown.
Well, I have a question
think
about-
it's
I have a
good.
question for you. I have a question for you. What good is a lower cooldown when you have an evolution that resets completely? If you
Yeah,
have 100?
exactly.
What good is...
Mind blown.
Yeah. Right, I've never seen the personal benefit of it. I've done it once or twice, wasn't a big fan.
I mean, I like listen. People gave me the argument like, oh, I don't evolve E, so I max E for the cooldown. But then if you evolve W, you don't have any damage on it.
Yeah, it's just useless.
Yeah.
Like,
I
do you
maxed
use your
E the
brain?
first week I played Kha'Zix. In Season 5. It was pretty sick.
What are you saying, Jameer?
I just want like, maybe Riot can do something like remove R evolve and then add something like a level 2 evolve for a single
that'd be
ability.
cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that's just like reworking the entire champ. Like,
Evolve Q squared.
Yeah, just evolve Q. Just evolve Q
I mean,
times in a row.
maybe it would be a cool idea, but like at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna happen.
It turns into like Cassidy's
Yeah, but-
fucking.
They just need to fix
sword.
the current Kha'Zix. All they have to do is reduce passive damage and change the Q.
Just
Like,
evolve
that's
E
all-
3 times in a row, jump from like dragon to baron. You know.
They just need to add the extra damage back. Honestly, like this,
Yeah, but then he would be broken because of the passive damage. Like,
yeah,
they have to nerf the passive.
damage and
If
bring
you
back.
nerf passive,
Yeah, that's all they have to do.
Q, that's literally half the rework.
Even right now,
rework.
even if they didn't revert the Q, I still think they should nerf the passive. It's just how strong it is, and it doesn't feel right. It does not feel right. I don't play Kha'Zix to play auto attacks. Like I would build fucking Triforce Bork if I want to do that.
And then they nerf the AD on the items, so you even get less AD, so your Q does less damage.
Yeah. And also, okay, very, very last thing, Riot shouldn't. Okay, I mean, when balancing Kha'Zix, you shouldn't touch the bonus AD of your Q, of his Q. You touch the base damage, you touch like the ISO damage, but you don't touch the bonus AD because the only thing that happens when you touch the bonus AD number is you're buffing Bruiser Kha'Zix and you're nerfing Assassin Kha'Zix. That's the only thing you're doing when you're touching that number when nerfing them. So, I think they should buff the bonus AD number on his Q, the scale, because it buffs Assassin Kha'Zix more than it does Bruiser and shit like that.
They just nerfed that like last couple.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I brought that up. Is like it's really bad to touch that number unless you want Bruiser Kha'Zix, but at the end of the day, that doesn't make sense because you want Assassin Kha'Zix. Like you if you want a Bruiser, you buff another Bruiser. Like why make Kha'Zix a Bruiser?
Yeah.
They removed the clearest cut like outplay of any assassin besides like Fizz ulti, which is isolation. By just making a thing just jump in a wave and kill people anyway with your passive damage. It's like it's so gross.
Yeah. And if you ask anyone that's played against old Kha'Zix and new Kha'Zix, like they find this Kha'Zix more oppressive and less counterplay. Obviously, like it's just there. Everyone knows it. There's just less counterplay because his base damage when you're in the middle of a wave is so much higher because of his passive damage.
You don't need isolation anymore.
His Q passive or his Q base damage is way higher than it was last season. So like, there's just less counterplay.
Let's make a champion based on auto attacks. Nerf is clearing, nerf is damage. Just give him extra damage on his autos. Yeah.
What's so ironic about it is like
it's not Kha'Zix though.
his
Kha'Zix
passive
is
auto is literally the
first
shittiest thing in the
champion.
game.
And on a different note, I
you combine it with Duskblade, it's retarded.
yeah, damage is insane. On a different note, I think the W evolve is good, right? They gave another mechanic to isolation, which I agree with.
I like W.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's
It would
strong.
make more sense if it like applied your passive if you were isolated, instead of just removing the slow entirely.
Oh, that was another thing I wanted to add is I think they should decrease the unisoed slow. I think it should be 20%, not 40%, because it's rewarding you for doing absolutely nothing, right? Like any monkey can play Kha'Zix evolve W and just throw out Ws, and if they walk into isolation, you're super rewarded, and even if they don't, that's a 40% slow. Like it's such a huge slow for doing absolutely nothing.
Before it was 25 and then 50. Now it's 40 and 80, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, actually it was just 50.
Yeah, it was 50 for both. Like, it was just 50% slow no matter what. But I just think it's too rewarding right now for just throwing out Ws during team fights and slowing for 40%. I think it's so cancer to play against.
Yeah.
Because it takes absolutely no skill. It's the easiest fucking ability in the game to land. Like, try to miss Kha'Zix W. Even if you try to miss Kha'Zix W evolve... Wait, you missed evolve W?
You can shoot it backwards.
Wait, you missed evolve W?
I'll put
Wait,
the-
no,
I'll put-
not evolve W.
Not evolve W, not evolve.
No, yeah, on evolve W, whatever. I'm talking about evolve W. That shit's so hard to miss.
Yeah, it is.
Even if you tried to miss evolve W, you're gonna hit it. Like you're gonna fucking hit something, you know? Like Lee Sin's farming Wraith and you actually hit Wraith and it AoEs to Lee Sin. Like you just tried to miss the enemy team and you still hit someone. Like it's gonna happen.
So, last thing, when are we bringing back Evolution Cancel?
Oh god.
Tingus,
Shut the fuck up.
can you undo your thing? What you did?
To be honest, what was the whole point of removing it?
I know, right?
I mean, it's broken.
Well, Tingus didn't like it.
It's super busted. Like,
Fuck Tingus.
Evolution
Tingus
canceling?
really didn't like it.
If Evolutions didn't have a cast time, that shit would be broken. Like, it's so abusable. And there's many reasons for that. I would actually think Lane KhaZix would come back if they made it not have a cast time. Like,
That's
Lane
true, though.
KhaZix would be super strong. You're sitting there level 5 and you know if you kill one minion you instantly hit 6 and you just fucking insta-evolve and kill someone. Like, it's just so broken.
I'm honestly afraid of the next Kha'Zix bug popping up because I know
Yep,
Tingus
that's
will
why I
get it
removed it.
patched.
Yep.
Tingus will get it patched like in a day. If there's a new one.
They just
So let's
probably got
just
the
keep it
Krugs
from-
patched.
Yeah.
Krugs stayed around for a while though.
Yeah.
So
I might
we're
end up
wrapping
becoming an 80 carry main.
Ooh.
Alright, so was that everything that we wanted to discuss?
It's
Nothing
11.
else?
It's 11:30. It's 11:30.
last-
So I'm gonna
last
head
question,
out
last
in like a minute.
Alright, thanks. No, we gotta end it. You can save it for next time we do this.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, see you next Christmas, dude.
Alright, so to wrap it up, thank you everyone for joining. We're gonna do this again, but instead, like, we're probably gonna talk about just general meta stuff like jungle, like how we feel about the jungle, how we feel about the meta, shit like that. We're gonna discuss that.
2017 jungle.
And then next time Kha'Zix gets any sort of change, we'll discuss that. But until then, I don't think we're gonna touch on Kha'Zix because we pretty much covered everything
Yeah,
here.
maybe a patch or so.
We'll announce when the next one is. So
Also,
yeah, that's it.
this will be turned into a video, and it will be posted either in announcements or pinned in this channel.
We could put it on the subreddit.
And it'll be put on the subreddit. You can go to Kha'Zix
Did you
Games
see?
subreddit.
Did you see how they buffed Sivir for 30 damage? So it was 60 damage on level 1 Q.
Yeah.
Wait, we have to end this discussion,
have to
bro.
end
We
it.
gotta
Shut up.
end this.
Well,
Remember to
let's
like,
start-
comment, and
let's-
subscribe.
Goodbye, guys.
I'm not talking about Kha'Zix.
Goodbye.
Peace out.